Good evening. We are coming back from our executive session. I'm calling us back into order for the March 11th, 2026 meeting of the school committee. Please.
That was yesterday.
Thank you. For the March 12th meeting of the school committee. Please join me in standing for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we continue on with our scheduled business, I just want to share some sad news with the community. I want to recognize Cipriana Coelho. Sorry. She passed away on March 1st after a courageous battle with her health. She was a beloved teacher in the North Andover Public Schools for 25 years, touching the lives of countless students, families, and colleagues. She began her career as an elementary music teacher, later transitioning to a classroom teacher at Kittredge, where she taught 2nd and 3rd grade. Cipriana was known for her strong work ethic, her deep care for every student, and the meaningful connections she built with students, staff, and families. Very sorry to hear about her loss. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her family and friends, and let's just take a moment of silence in honor of her. Thank you. Going on to our consent agenda. Project Lead the Way, Ms. Sandbell.
Actually, I'm going to call up Miss Larcombe to help.
Oh, sorry, Ms.
With
Larcombe.
this one, that's okay.
Project Lead the Way.
And I've lost it all. Apologies, everybody.
You'll have to tell us what Project Lead the Way is.
All right, Kara, you talk while I get this going.
All right. Hello, everybody.
You could be the high school senior.
That's great. Said I can join the high school seniors. I'll just blend right in. Makes me feel good. So Project Lead the Way is I think I was ready to talk about the grant. I had to think about how to frame it. It is a multi-year pathway, series of courses. It is a nationally recognized curriculum, and we applied for a grant. We currently have Project Lead the Way Computer Science, and we have had that, I want to say it was 2015. I think I put it in there. We had applied for a grant, 2018, sorry, and launched the 3-course pathway for computer science at the high school, and offering an intro to computer science and 2 AP computer science courses. And that was through a very similar grant, same organization, the 1-8 Foundation, that provided us the funding to launch that. So they have 2 other pathways. We applied for the biomedical sciences pathway, and excited that we found out last week that we received $75,000 to launch that pathway. That will pay for professional development for our teachers, as well as equipment and materials and supplies to run that program. So it will not cover everything we'll need, so we'll use some of our district funds to help support that, but we kind of have been mapping it out. We kind of applied. There's a part 1. We moved on to part 2 and said, are we ready? And I'm very excited. So for next year, it would be the high quality instructional material that we would use in our existing anatomy and physiology classes. That would be our first course that we would offer. So an existing course that is already there, but we would use the Project Lead the Way curriculum materials and supplies for that course, and then we would add on a capstone in year 2 is our plan, and then which our comp sci pathway and biomed would also be able to take that course, and then a intro to biomedical sciences, which would cover some of the material that we offer in our forensics. So we would look to adjust our program of studies in the next 2 years to be able to move towards that pathway in year 3. So very excited.
Clarifying question,
Yes.
or not really clarifying. One of the benefits of using a Project Lead the Way title in a course is that then, like, AP courses can be designated as a advanced coursework for our kids.
Yes.
So it could help
So
us increase the access to advanced coursework through some other means without having to necessarily take an AP class.
Correct. So all of the course, Project Lead the Way are part of that designation from DESE for advanced coursework. So there also are kind of that national recognition. It is a national program that colleges often will recognize, and that students have participated in that.
So that's what's meant by pathway, is that it, either they start at a higher level or college, or they have a much better chance of getting in?
So not related to college, the pathway is that we will offer 3 courses that are all aligned in the focus and the content. And so if students take all 3, it is leading them towards more, a deeper area of expertise in that type of coursework.
Sounds great.
In-demand, transportable knowledge and skills through pathways in computer science, engineering, and biomedical science. Exciting stuff. I think Project Lead the Way was actually one of the first national high-quality instructional materials, like the idea that like this is a curriculum that is deemed high quality and meant to be accessible to kids. So really exciting stuff. So
And all rooted in project-based learning.
let's go with the biomedical science.
Not all at high school, apparently.
They have curriculum K through 12. So they do have an elementary program. We have investigated at this point, we don't have the capacity within our schedule to offer that. And we've explored the middle school. It depends on where we head with the middle school. And we can talk about this a little bit. I know Mr. Gonzalez and I have spoken about this. So the pathway at the middle school, again, would require some different staffing that we don't currently have right now. So some opportunities, but 1-8 has some great grants, and we've been lucky to have some grants from them for ST Math and then the Comp Sci Project Lead the Way. So I know that we'll be well supported through that process with them.
Thank you so much. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Hicks, I will gladly move that we accept the grant for the PLTW Biomedical Science Pathway.
Second?
Thank you. Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes?
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
And Mr. Hicks votes yes. I forgot to say, is there any further discussion? Sorry. Moving on.
Great stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Larcom, and thank you for doing, I imagine you're the one who did the application?
With some support.
Oh, exactly. Many thanks to Kara, and then many thanks to Deb Holman and her staff for being willing to take this on.
Yeah. I know that sometimes it includes like then summertime learning for the people who are going to teach it and conferences and stuff, so thank you. SEAM annual report.
This is informational only. This is SEAM. It's one of our collaboratives, so you have access to, you don't have it in your packet, but you have the link. You have access to the annual report from SEAM. There's a letter from the finance director. There's the FY27 approved budget, and then there's some highlights. In there you should see like the tuition increases for next year, transportation increases. But this is an informational packet for you as we're part of the collaborative.
Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm sure they could reach out to you to
Yep,
get some clarification.
Absolutely.
Moving on to a donation from the Gotchis family. Did I say that correctly? I hope so.
Yes, sir.
Are you coming up to tell us about it?
If you want me to.
I would love to. I'd love it if you did. It seems like a very generous item.
I didn't know how generous it was until we found out how much an Amtrak costs.
Yeah.
So what happened is one of our teachers is working on applying for a grant, and it's a grant that would increase inclusion opportunities for students at NAMS with other students, specifically in our multiple supports program. And in her conversations, she discovered that there was a family, a North Andover family, who has an Amtrak, I should just say Amtrak, and it's no longer necessary, so they wanted to donate it to the school district. So we went through the proper channels. She was able to fill out the form the next day after I gave it to her, and we're here to ask if school committee would, yes. And I also, I sent that, yeah. If you just go to Amtrak, you'll see tons of images, and they're all types of bikes,
Appears to be like an adult size
Yeah,
tricycle
but
for moving
this
around.
But this
But better.
one is for smaller kids. So I'm here because I connected and asked for the paperwork to be filled out, but this bike would be for the ABECC.
Got it. So not adult size, but bigger than ABC. Like,
Yes, it's
Yeah.
adaptive equipment, so for students who may not have the upper body control or the physical gross motor skills to be able to operate a bike independently, there are straps, there are safety features, and George, it was wonderful. He reached out. The two of us reached out to the physical therapists to see where it might be the best fit. They were the ones that indicated that it was ABECC, and we are very fortunate. As George said, this piece of equipment, these are coveted items. They are not easy to purchase. They are expensive. And when a family, it's just very generous when they look back to the school district and offer to donate it. So,
thank you very much to Mrs. Gotchis. I hope I say again, I'm saying your name correctly. Very kind of you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I will move that we graciously accept the donation of the Amtrike from the Gotchis family.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes?
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Communications Part 1. Hello, Han and Louine and Allie. So happy to see you. I know you haven't been here for other reasons, but we're happy to have you.
Yes.
Drama programs pulled you away from us for a while. I hope they've gone well. I do believe, are you part of Drama Fest?
Not this year, unfortunately,
Okay.
but it was last year. Now it's just student council that I'm
That's
busy with.
Well, you missed all of our effusive compliments about the show.
But Drama Fest performance tomorrow night in advance of their going to, is this part of
Semifinals.
announced? Okay, I'll be quiet.
No, it's all good.
So lovely student reps, take it away.
Okay, so I'll start with Deck Estates is March 12th, so today, to the 14th, and a lot of students are traveling to Boston to compete and try to qualify for nationals. Interact Club just made St. Patrick's Day cards and are planning to hand them out personally next week at a senior home. And Women in Leadership has their ongoing clothes drive, so please drop off any clothes in the box in front of the high school's main office. Sophomore English MCAS begins the 24th and is also happening on the 26th. And National Honor Society started signups for their second blood drive. It's going to happen on April 10th at North Andover High School. Look for QR codes around school or book through Red Cross website. And April 10th is also the last day for quarter 3 grades. The Seal of Biliteracy examination was done on the 10th, and this is great for demonstrating proficiency in a foreign language. North Andover High School is also hosting SAT exams this Saturday, and a lot of students are planning to take this March SAT. Many college results will be rolling out by April 1st as well. And the American Thought class came back from DC, and they had a great time exploring through different museums.
So, North Andover Student Council recently attended the Massachusetts Association of Student Councils yearly state conference this year in Hyannis. They learned valuable leadership skills while attending student-based workshops and listening to some really great speakers. I attended. I used to be a state delegate, and it was really quite lovely. Next week is NAS Spirit Week, Knights Care Week. So we have dress-ups for each day. So Monday is Knights Care About Themselves, Pajama Day. Tuesday is Environment Day, and students are asked to wear green. Wednesday is Culture Day. Students are asked to wear flags or cultural clothing. Thursday is Community Day. Students are asked to wear a funny t-shirt or a fun hat. And Friday is Knights Care About Each Other, so wear class colors and North Andover gear, gray and silver for freshmen, white for sophomores, red for juniors, and black for seniors. Also, on Friday, there will be a pep rally basketball game. It's student versus teachers. It's always really quite fun, and I get to do the scoreboard again. And Scarlet Night is Friday night at 7 p.m. Scarlet Night is the biggest fundraiser for SOS, so please go see that, and there's going to be some great performances.
Tomorrow?
Yes, that one.
The
Sorry,
20th.
my bad. Oh, that's not written in here.
And for SOS, they always need volunteers, so put it on your calendar now.
Yeah.
When is graduation?
June 5th.
June 5th, that night. Be ready.
June 5th.
Yes.
2026 Micah Choral Festival is hosted at NAS on the 27th and the 28th. So concert choir, Scarlet and Black, and treble choir will all be performing.
When is that?
So Micah, it's
When?
the 27th and the 28th.
Okay, great.
It's a lot of people. It's great. And German Club is thrilled to be hosting their Sparks program now in its second week. We're working with 15 enthusiastic students from the elementary and middle school, introducing them to the fun of learning German. Each week, our club members welcome the participants to the library, guide them through new German words and phrases, and support them throughout their learning time. The energy in the room has been amazing. Everyone is engaged and eager to learn. After each session, our club members ensure that all students are safely escorted back to their parents. It's been a fantastic experience so far, and we're super excited to see how Sparks will continue.
All right, we have three more updates directly from clubs. The first is from History Club. They said that we have been working on a virtual exhibit for America 250 this year. We should applaud Mr. Sheehy for having all the resources necessary for the exhibit and the History Lab. Also, a big thank you to aides like Zoe Hartman, who have been working hard to organize the lab. From Drama Guild, this Saturday, the North Andover High School Drama Guild will travel to Wayland High School to present its one-act play, Booby Trap, at the semifinal round in the Massachusetts State Drama Festival. The cast and crew of this production includes 38 students. 2 weeks ago, the Guild won the preliminary round at Saugus High School, earning their spot in the semifinal competition. At that event, North Andover will also receive the most all-star awards of the day, with recognition going to 3 of their actors, their set designers, and their lighting engineers. Also, by making it to the finals at States, our robotics team qualified for Worlds, and Mr. Hearn actually caught me while I was going out of school today, and he had this message drafted off to the North Andover School Committee, so I'm going to read that, and that will conclude our report. So, to the school committee, I didn't realize at the time how fortunate I was to have been given the opportunity to fill Mike Motherway's shoes a few years ago. I went from a regular classroom teacher to a department onto myself. I became something that was part teacher, part administrator, and part coach. The learning curve has been steep, learning to manage my own budget, how to write grants, and bump elbows with the right people to secure additional funding, how to guide students through emotionally charged moments during and after tournaments, and which forms need to be filled out for which events or requests. This particular one I'm still working on, as I'm sure you are keenly aware. Along with the stress that comes with having to fill so many new roles comes the constant nagging fear that at the end of the day, I just won't be good enough. I'm not sure that fear will ever fully go away, but I have to admit it helps quite a bit that we continue to send teams, and sometimes even more than one, every year to the VEX Robotics World Championships. This year is no different. Our team, 856AA, participated in the state championships this past weekend, where they went to the very last match of the tournament and claimed their right to attend the World Championships that will take place in St. Louis, Missouri, between April 20th and April 25th. I want to speak plainly here in stating that their success and the continued success of the North Andover Robotics program would not be possible without the unfaltering aid and support you all have given us over the years. Because of your support, we fielded the top public school robotics team in the state all season. They participated in more tournaments than any team before them, won more awards than any team has, and developed skills that will absolutely serve them for the rest of their lives. Many kids who play high school sports dream of making it to the big leagues. As much as we all want them to see these dreams become reality, few, if any, ever actually make it that far. Every kid on this robotics team, however, will go on to be successful engineers. They will find themselves working to solve real-world problems that we all stand to benefit from. You, in large part, have made this possible. Thank you truly, Bennett Hearn.
That was very kind of you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course.
I didn't realize it was in St. Louis. Usually they go to Texas. That's great.
Chair Hicks, can
Yes.
we invite them in to see their robots
Please.
before they go?
I would love for them to come to show us their toys and throw things at Mr. Moskovich.
Well, this year they're shoving stuff around. It's not just throwing. They've like there are like a couple of different things going on. There's defense actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's in fact, I remember that was a big part of it this time. There was a big emphasis on defensive, right?
Yeah, there's like this whole de-scoring sort of tradition now where they sort of have these mechanisms that hook into they're sort of like nets, but they're scoring rails, and they sort of whip out a bunch of the like scoring items, the balls at once, and it really leads to heated moments in the middle of games because it could really just like turn the points right around.
If you use just a little imagination, it looks a lot like the paint in an NBA game with the elbow. It did look like that's that's what landed in my head was the elbows.
It's fantastic. I would love for them to.
Robots, or are they totally different?
I would say they're somewhat similar. I mean, the drivetrains, like the pole gears and mechanisms at the bottom of the robots are the same, but they always change the game sufficiently so that the scoring ends up being quite different. Like last year, it was very much flipping rings onto stakes, right? So like piercing. And then this year, it's much more of loading these like balls and then loading them into, like I said, scoring rails.
Yeah.
So the tops are distinctly different, but the bottoms are very much similar. Yeah.
I thought last year they would pick them up and put them into in a goal, like in soccer.
Yeah, it was like this. There was a ring, and then it's sort of a stake like this,
Right.
and then they would put the rings into them, and it was really weird because some of them were also mobile, and then one of them you could climb the bot with and score at the top. I don't know if anyone ever did that anywhere last year, but that was part of the game too.
It's so cool how I like how they change the game every year. That's fun, but I also like how sometimes the team will be like, well, that just didn't work, and we're just going to get rid of our robot and start again. And it's like quite cool how it's like, these are the parts you have, figure it out, and like how different the robots can be, even though like they're made out of the same stuff.
Right. And there's a lot of strategy that goes on too when they're in the match. Well, before the matches, in terms of figuring out how you're going to play the match and then playing the matches. So it's very good. Please tell Mr. Ahern how much we appreciate his work.
Of course, and I will tell him you all would like a demonstration.
Yes.
We're quite nerdy over here. Thank you very much, everybody. Bonus performance of that play, Booby Trap, tomorrow night. So it's free. Yeah. Alrighty. We're going to be talking about high school data and middle school data later on. So if you want to stay and hear about that and ask some questions, you are more than welcome to. If that feels like you have other things to do, then please leave.
In the most lovely
Please,
way.
you may leave. Actually, please feel free to leave. That's a better way to say it. Alrighty, public comments. Moving on, upcoming events.
Excellent. Link there. Great. Tonight is the opening night of the 8th grade play. It's tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday. So if you have some opportunity, I'd like for you to encourage to go see our 8th grade play. I don't remember do you know the name?
This is a text.
This is a text. That's it. Yes. And then, as everybody already said, on March 13th, the Drama Guild is doing another performance for North Andover of Booby Trap. It's 7 o'clock at North Andover High School. They've moved on to the semifinals. I have a friend who was involved in school theater and retired now, but goes to the competitions. And I received this text on the morning of their first competition. Good morning. Just saw your student production of Booby Trap and was floored by their brilliant performance. So that sounds, it was really lovely to get that. So hopefully people will be there tomorrow night. Then next Friday night, as we already heard, is a Scarlet Night. I don't know, I call it competition because I feel like there should be a word after that.
Pageant.
Event, maybe event's a better word. 7 to 9 o'clock. Okay. March 26th, just a reminder, we have another school committee meeting here, 6:30 to 9. And March 30th is our tri-board meeting. At the tri-board meeting, that's the school committee, the finance committee, and the select board. And we'll be hearing the boards will be hearing a presentation from the Kittredge School Building Committee. And it's an opportunity for the community to give some input and ask some questions. I'm sure Mr. Brown will speak about it a little bit later, but we did bring up the board for you all to see. And then, next slide. I just want to let everyone know that right now we are partnering with Stevens Memorial Library for our community read, or what we call North Andover Reads. That happens during the month of March. So we're a little bit into the month of March, but this year's theme is harmony. And they're exploring the theme of harmony through both literature and music. Everyone, students, parents, and teachers are invited to read, reflect, and celebrate the richness that music brings to their lives. This is a great partnership. They have a little trifold. I printed some out for you of some of the events that are happening at the library over this month.
Oh, they have book recommendations.
Yes,
One of them is Mo Willems. He's amazing.
so some great things happening there. That's what I have for community
Book
events.
giveaway. Thank you so much.
You know, it's too bad the school committee should be in favor of harmony.
We are.
Well, I mean, we need to be official about it.
We are.
But if you think back about what music was like, 50 years ago when I was alive and most of you weren't, music had a lot more, not because of you guys, but it had more harmony in it. There was definitely harmony defined as, series of chords. It's definitely, it's kind of slipping away. And for those of us that remember it, it's sad. So it's really nice that our committee is trying to reverse the trend. Thank you.
I think that was the plan, that the librarians at Stevens Memorial Library and North Andover Public School librarians work together to come up with a theme that they think will benefit our community and maybe enlighten us a little bit.
Should bring back Victor Herbert, for example. He was really good at harmony.
Okay.
There were these guys, the Beatles, they were pretty good too.
Who?
I'm not sure about harmony, Dave.
That's
They were
okay.
good.
That's a layup. I gave you the pass.
I think some of the events that they have are amazing. For the teen events, it's listed in the middle under teen events, but I feel like a Wicked sing-along on March 22nd at Sunday at 2 o'clock just sounds like a great time for everybody. They're also doing a sensory-friendly viewing of Fantasia. If I happen, I won't go and beat all the kids, but I think I would definitely win the Disney music trivia. So I will stay away from that one. Thank you for all of that. That's great. We are moving on to presentations. Miss Ando, we're going to invite up Mr. Gonsalves first,
Yes.
and we're going to hear about the middle school.
Is Karen coming with him?
And is anyone coming up with Mr. Gonsalves? Oh, hi, Miss Larkham. So we're going to hear from Mr. Gonsalves and Miss Larkham. We'll hear the presentation. We'll make notes in our packet. We'll then ask them questions in order afterwards. We'll take a breather and then hear from the high school.
Yes, but we'll all sit.
Oh, hello, Miss Holman.
Here comes the team. All right, my friends, as you remember, we had our K-5 mid-year school improvement plan update presentation last week. This year, we are going to be graced with the 6-12 presentation. As you see, George Gonsalves, Deb Holman, and Kara Larcombe are at the table, and then the rest of my team, Joe and Jackie, are in the back. Kara generally works 6-12, and Joe and Jackie generally work K-8, but everybody does everything, and so we are all here. We are all here tonight. You can see on this. So first slide is our theme for the year: rooted in purpose, growing in practice, honoring our strong roots, and moving forward. You'll also see the number 63, which is the number of years that our team has been in education and/or ed leadership, and so we are among greatness here. And so I'm very proud to call them my colleagues, my friends, and my principals. And so really excited. And George is driving, so that's good. Awesome district goals, my friends. High quality instructional materials and equity, multi-tiered system of support and equity, and budgeting and equity. Our main goal from our department this year is to put the best materials we can in teachers' hands and then give them the tools that they need in order to meet the needs of all of our students. So everything that we talk about tonight will be related to those two things. The challenge in putting this presentation together was trying to capture the amount of work that these individuals, these teachers, and these teams have done and try to compress that into a 20-minute presentation for you. So
you'll get a 30,000-foot view tonight. You can have you have the whole plan linked in the agenda, and if you're in the public, the whole plan is linked in the agenda and linked on our website for all of the details. But we are going to do our best to give you a 30,000-foot view about how the progress of the plan. So the slides tonight will be an overview, but you can always read the entire plan that's in your packet. Again, it was very difficult, just like the K-5 presentation, very difficult to capture the volume of work. What we are going to try to do about 20 minutes each school. So middle school first, we'll pause for questions, and then we'll move on to the high school. Just like we did last week, we gave a word bank, or in our ESL world, we call this a word bank, where we know we speak a very particular language as far as MAP and DIBBLES and multi-tiered systems of support and HQIM and advisory and team time. This is a place that we can, and we linked it to the slides, that if we're having trouble with any of our terms, it's just a resource for us to look at. And then we will answer any questions. But we use these terms very fluidly. I'm actually very proud of that fact, that this is the language we speak, understanding it's not the language everyone speaks. Awesome. And we'll start. I'll pass it over to proud Principal George to talk about North Andover Middle.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. Here we are, just past the midpoint of the school year, and I would be remiss if I didn't publicly thank all of the staff at NAMS for their flexibility and efforts this year. As you know, we reduced our ranks by 10 teachers coming into the school year, which required some creative scheduling, changes to teams, reassignment of staff, and changes to the related arts offerings. Teachers really had to stretch themselves well outside what they were used to, and I dare say even outside their comfort zones. I'm just so proud of them and applaud them for their tenacity and resolve throughout the course of last year and into this year. Now, on top of all that, we developed ambitious goals as outlined in the school improvement plan presented to you this past fall. We set high student achievement targets, began the process of HQIM implementation and curriculum reviews, and challenged ourselves to find new ways to support students with reduced staff and resources. Today is an opportunity to reflect on our goals, recognize where we are, identify where we are going, and celebrate those successes along the way. So we have 3 goals. We have 3 potted plants with lovely flowers and a little bee buzzing above. Our first goal, goal 1, was student achievement. Our second was related to HQIM, and our third was MTSS. If you look at your word bank, that's multi-tiered systems of support. And we're going to begin with goal 1, student achievement. So our goal, and our benchmarks are embedded in this goal, was to improve student performance. So in regards to MCAS growth, we have a goal of increasing the number of students meeting or exceeding expectations by 3%, very ambitious, and we won't have those results until the summer. MAP achievement, however, and knowing we wouldn't have the results until the summer, we wanted to add an achievement goal we would be able to see this year. So we also selected a very ambitious goal for MAP achievement. Take where students were to start the year and see if we could increase their scores by 2% from fall to winter and another 2% from winter to spring. Now it's in the number of students in the 61st to 100% range. Now here's what you should know about MAP. In the fall, this is what our students should score approximately at the fall of their 6th or 7th or 8th grade year. The winter test is not the same assessment or the same bar or the same expectations as the fall. So if you see the same percentile in the winter, it means students are showing about a half year's growth. And if you see the same percentile in the spring, they're showing about a year's growth. And we're basically challenging ourselves to show more than a year's growth, both for half a year's growth in the winter and then in the spring. So when we looked at the scores, this is what we saw. In fall, for math, we were at 67% of students were in the green and blue, 61st through 100%. And come winter, we're at 66%. So you could argue, if that were 68%, I would say the same thing. We stayed pretty much the same. We're moving forward. You know, where our students are achieving at the same pace, almost half a year's growth, but we're not surpassing that, ready, yet. And if you look at reading, we're about the same, 60%, 59%. So we will see growth, but it's going to take time. Continuing to differentiate instruction and better meet the needs of all learners will be the key to leveraging what support we have available now, as such as classes where we have special education teachers and the general education teacher. We want to leverage the co-teaching model wherever it exists to better meet the needs of those students in the class and their diverse needs. We're teaching grade level standards in our classes, and that's not going to be a simple task when we have students reading and writing and their math skills at all different levels. So we have work to do. We're adopting and implementing HQIM, which will ensure that we're teaching grade level standards, but we're going to need to unpack those units to create additional scaffolds and supports that are going to be essential to this work. So this is where we're at today. I envision we'll be further along as we go. Change and growth will take time. So the next bucket is HQIM. I mentioned that, high quality instructional materials. So we had the goal of aligning Tier 1 instruction to grade level standards. Tier 1 is what you predominantly see in the general education classroom. And this work is grounded in what's deemed high quality instructional materials, HQIM. And when those aren't available, we try to find other sources, and we do some curriculum unpacking, and we do some comparison to the state level standards. That is the work everyone at NAMS is doing this year. In grade 6 and 7, you adopted the investigating history curriculum. So we're teaching investigating history in grade 6 and 7. It's a multi-year plan, but not too many years. And this year they're teaching 2 units. I can't tell you they're not teaching all the units in some grades, though, because they're overzealous, like I said, and they're awesome. In grade 8, you adopted arts and letters, so minimum of 2 units. We've developed some very closely aligned units that are aligned with the state frameworks. They're really good. So we kept those, and we embedded a couple of arts and letters units as well. And we're slowly going to let go of those and do all arts and letters. But they're really good. But we recognize it's all in, HQIM. Math, science, and civics. So I said grade 6 and 7 social studies. What about a grade 8? That's civics. So math, science, and civics, we haven't adopted HQIM for those subjects, or you haven't adopted that yet. We're reviewing HQIM options, and we're piloting to make recommendations to you. And we hope to do that by the end of the year, if we can. And then you have the other departments, visual and performing arts, wellness, digital literacy, library, applied reading and writing. They're utilizing the DESE Implement MAS process to explore HQIM options. And as part of that work, what is your curriculum now? What are the state level standards? How can we align them? So that's the work we're doing related to Goal 2. And how do we do this work? You heard the expression, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a lot of people to do this work. And Kara's going to speak to that.
Right.
Ms. Larkham.
So I'm lucky enough to be part of that work, and along with my fellow coaches, working closely with George and the assistant principals, and we have one coach who supports the upper elementary into middle school. So as a team, we work and meet together, we develop the tools, we design what professional development looks like, and facilitate sessions for teachers. We have teacher leaders, so much like you heard from our elementary, we have teacher leaders across the elementary level that are full-time teachers and support this through some stipends. At the middle school, they're called academic coordinators for each department, and they help facilitate alongside us as well as participate themselves. And then from there, our teacher teams have the opportunity to meet once every 5 days as a grade and subject. So 6th grade science, 7th grade social studies. So they meet once every 5 days, along with some of our professional development early release time to dive into this work and learn and coordinate their instruction for that commonality across their teaching team. We talk a lot about what this HQIM is and the selection. You can see a lot of it is taking place at the middle school. in various departments. So we want to just review with you a little bit. We've talked about some of these steps along the way as we've come to ask for adoption of curriculum, but we want to kind of review that process. So real briefly, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has created a process and lots of tools and resources for us to utilize. So they call it the Implement Mass process for HQIM selection. It all starts with learn and prepare. So we first need to look at what are those options, what's available, looking at ed reports and the state curate reports to narrow down our options to the ones that we think might be the best fit for our students. And then from there, we dive in deeper. So it's called the investigate and select. So we dive deeper into the narrowed selection of maybe 2 to 3 resources to better understand them and see what is available and how those align to the state standards as well as the needs of our students. And then from there, we move into the launch stage, which involves professional development and support, unpacking units, understanding them at a deeper level to move forward with that implementation process. And then, of course, as we're implementing, not only are we continuing some professional development and a deeper understanding, but we are monitoring that process along the way and seeing how we might need to make any course corrections, provide additional support, professional development, and continue to have that refinement of aligning across the different teachers that are all utilizing those high-quality instructional materials. So we're along this process in various ways. And turn it back to George to describe a little more.
So why have we had early releases this year, and what were all those teachers doing? So let me tell you. So the first 2 early releases of the year, which provided us a good amount of PD time, that was full staff, heterogeneous groups, learning about HQIM. It was called The Case for HQIM. Basically researching, reading, learning, and understanding why HQIM works, how it works, and why we should utilize it. So those are the first 2 PDs of the year. Then we moved immediately into departments. So now we're diving into work with our departments based on where we are on this continuum that Ms. Larkham just went over with you, because different departments are in different places. So like I said earlier, and I'll just repeat it quickly, math and science and civics, they're vetting and selecting. Arts, they're aligning to the frameworks, their curriculum. Wellness and PE, and by wellness, I'm saying the PE teachers, the wellness teacher, the fitness teacher, the health teacher, they all follow the same frameworks. And that work's interesting because you have to take the frameworks, look at our courses, and see how we're going to take these frameworks and teach within these courses. So that's ongoing work. And then the same with digital literacy, library, and applied reading and writing. You might remember we created, we went from 4 4-person teams in grade 6 to 3 5-person teams. So there's still 4 members of each team in grade 6, math, science, English, and social studies. But what we did is we add a digital literacy person, applied reading and writing person, a librarian, we only have 1, library media specialist, to each team for 1 trimester. That's a 60-day curriculum, and then they rotate to another team. And that's how students get those courses, and that's how we make sure we can divide our 6th graders by 15 classes to keep those classes small. That's what I meant by creative scheduling. So this work is ongoing. And if you want to see what it looks like longitudinally, yeah, they said you would like this. So that's why Kara created this slide.
I like a good
yeah. So I don't know, pick one. If you go to civics, let's say, and you look, oh my God, what card are you holding? So so in civics, we're utilizing DESE recommended options. That's our work now. Oh no, that was our work. We're learning and preparing. We're actually beginning the investigate and select, and then hopefully we pilot, and then for next year, well, we hope to have a recommendation so we can adopt the civics curriculum for grade 8. And then you can see what it looks like for other departments there. All right. And then moving on, we go to the next flower pot, multi-tiered systems of support. So this is challenging. It's important work. We should always be doing this work, regardless of if we have a goal or not. And that work is to identify existing tiers of academic and social emotional support, identify the needs of our students, and see what we can create, if it doesn't already exist, to support our students and their needs. So I'm proud to say that despite our reductions in staff, despite our reductions in available resources, we found a way. So at the beginning of the year, we created, recognizing the importance of literacy and how that can get in the way of students acquiring math, acquiring science, certainly acquiring social studies skills and knowledge. We created a task force. It's comprised of administrators, curriculum directors, and our instructional coach for the district. We identified students on IEPs with reading goals, and we also focused on our grade 6 EL students. Always want to get them young, right? We have 3 years with these kids. So thanks to the district support, we procured 70 Lexia accounts and teacher resources to support students below and well below benchmark in fluency and accuracy. Then we trained all of our inclusion special ed teachers on DIBELS assessments and analysis, kind of what they're doing at the elementary school. So we brought it to the middle school. We progress monitor every 3 to 6 weeks with reading and special education teachers, along with the instructional coach, to analyze data and action plan. And new, again, thanks to the district support, we have an EL literacy tutoring program that's before and after school, which began this month. So, although all special education inclusion teachers and reading teachers are using DIBELS, we're focusing additional attention and support when we can with our grade 6 students. We're being proactive now. We want our students to be reading at grade level before high school. Proactive is how we want to be. We want to be data-driven. We want to look at both short-term and long-term goals. So let me show you a snapshot of some data. So looking at grade 6, looking at the DIBELS, boy, beginning of the year, MOY, middle of the year, 45 students, so you can see who we're targeting, and then it was 46, added a student, and they went from 60% reading accuracy at the beginning of the year to 70% reading accuracy middle of the year. So it's working. But we want to continue to see it working at all levels and in all spaces. So the literacy task force is continuing to meet. We're now going to be adding a layer of observation rounds and discussions and talks and common look-fors, and shared best practices. Wow, look at what I saw. How can I get you to see this so you can apply it in your room? And giving people strategies to try out too. So how about a student example? One of our 6th grade students is new to NAMS this year and new to this country. Their prior education was in Spanish. They did learn some English in their other country. Spanish is predominantly spoken at home. Their beginning of the year accuracy was 72%. Middle of the year went up to 90%. We want this child getting as fluent as possible, as quickly as possible, so the rest of their middle school career wouldn't be as challenging as it could have been. So that is one of the success stories. And then, remember I told you how proud I am of my staff. So to do this work, you know, I believe in the phrase, you can't do it in isolation, takes a village. I think Karen Leahy often says, you know, other people's ideas are better than anything you can come up with, and I misquoted that for sure. But someone knows what it actually is. So what we did is we said, to do this work, and by work I mean all the work, we need to put people together. We need to put our experts together, our staff together to do this work. So CARA, grant funding, found the ability to send folks to rigorous leading and learning PD with Michael McDowell. So we have 10 folks doing that. We have 5 teachers going to the teacher version, and we have the 5, so there's actually 11, and then we have 5 academic coordinators and me going to the leadership version. Deeper Learning, that's a grant Kara and I wrote. High school also has the Deeper Learning grant, and we have 10 teachers part of that. Ms. Larkham and I plan and facilitate those meetings. And we're defining and applying research-based instruction to foster a culture of belonging and rigor. So we're taking a lot of what we're learning through the rigorous leading and learning and applying it, weaving it into the deeper learning work. And why do we do this? To then mass market it, to bring it to all the staffs. This year, small group, next year, large group. You may have heard, if you're a middle school geek like me, Association of Middle Level Education, AMLE, we created a steering committee of students, staff, and families, and we surveyed them. We are going to take a deep analysis of, when you think about the 18 characteristics of a successful middle school, what are we doing well? What can be improved upon? What are the recommendations? Combine that with the strategic plan work, and we're going to have some great recommendations based on research and data for what we need at NAMS. We lost collaboration time this year. So teams used to be able to meet during the scheduled day as a duty. Between lunch duty and student success time, they have duties basically every day. We did keep the ability for them to meet once every 5 days with their grade level content area. You had to, we were pushing HQIM. They needed to be working together at least once every 5 days. But we did create a little group to see, is it even possible to create more collaboration time for trimester 3? And guess what happens when you bring a group of people together? They came up with an idea. It comes with a lot of cons. So we're presenting it to staff, and we're going to see if we want to try to roll it out for trimester 3, or let's just include this in what's going to be the scheduling committee work later on to look at the future. And then staff have said, we're a big school, lots of kids, lots of staff. We need to renew our vows when it comes to our protocols, our procedures. So it's called a student behavior task force, but it isn't necessarily about discipline. It's about understanding the middle school child, understanding how they tick, knowing what they need to thrive, and then looking at all our policies and protocols and seeing if that matches with what we want to do. So that's what that group is doing, and then we'll bring it to the staff at large. And then thank you, district, for supporting a proposal I asked, which is to create a scheduling committee to look at, you need that scheduling committee to then take the recommendations of the AMLE group and the strategic plan to then say, okay, what does this look like with scheduling? And I'm proud to say Pam and Kristen and so many others have partnered with us and are supporting us in that work. So it's good stuff. And then, of course, there's going to be recommendations with all this. So you can imagine there'll be staffing recommendations, both to support HQIM implementation and potentially a new schedule and multi-tiered systems of support, what we need for our students that we can't provide now. We were creative. The Literacy Task Force did a good job, but there's other students who need more, and I don't know that we can come up with anything more right now. And then resource recommendations. You need the resources to support all of this good work. And then questions.
Thank you, sir.
And I had to bury some pictures of kids from this year in that.
Awesome. Can you just come up there for a moment?
I cherry picked. I could have picked so many more. We could have done a slideshow.
I am. I see one. He's right there.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
What are the numbers, George, in the center? Top center?
Oh, that's the annual spelling bee.
Ah.
So what is the number? The number
Yeah,
of
so
letters that you.
no, we randomly assign them a number. Some would say that paper's a little large for the size of the child.
No, I think it's a good.
But we recycle them.
Contestant number. It's fantastic. Thank you, sir. So what we're going to do, Mr. Gonzalez, is we're going to back up to the beginning of the presentation, and we'll ask you some questions for clarification and whatnot in the order of the presentation, so we don't have to jump around too much.
Okay.
Members, remember, we're asking for clarification and understanding and maybe forecasting. This is based on the goals. This is a mid-year progress report on the goals that we approved. So keep in mind that we're not going to ask them to change their goals at this point, because that would be silly. So questions about the first potted plant on student achievement? I have one. Clarifying question. I'm going to say something and then tell me if I got this correct.
Yeah, please.
And it's about slide number 9 and 10. And you had mentioned that, okay, so the numbers are 1 point below.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't mean that they've lost learning. They're actually, to keep the number the same or around the same, you actually have to do learning that would be like the typical learning that we want them to have happened.
Right.
We just didn't quite get to the threshold of having the learning increase faster than what we wanted yet.
More than a half a year's growth, and then the spring, the conversation will be more than a year's growth. Because if we're going to play catch up, we have to do more than a year's
Right.
growth.
But they learned what they're, like, we didn't unlearn things.
No.
Or forget to learn things. They've learned what they need to learn.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Similarly, confused about how to interpret the numbers. In other words, when that shows 67 and 66, but like, what's that relative to? In other words, was the target 68? Was the target, I mean, I'm having trouble interpreting.
The goal itself, I'll tell you, so I'll answer your question first
Okay.
off.
Yeah.
So fall 67, so per our school improvement plan goal, we're looking for 69.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't know the baseline until we had the fall scores.
So what we'd like to see is 100% blue and green.
Of course, but yeah.
Yeah.
So 67 is where they started in fall, and then green plus blue. And-
Only green plus blue, correct.
Okay, and then green plus blue in the winter is 66.
Mhm.
Okay. And the target in both cases is for the year is 69?
Based
No.
on 67, it would have been 69 and then 71.
I told you it was ambitious.
Okay.
And we just rolled the dice.
No,
Like,
no, I
let's
just
shoot
wanna-
for this.
Yeah.
It's going to get more realistic potentially, but
No,
we didn't want to wait. We want to.
I like setting
Yeah.
the bar high.
Yeah.
I like that approach, that's fine.
And then,
It's-
and then you obviously this one for reading,
Yeah.
we're looking at 64 by the end of the year.
Okay.
So given, just for both of these, for 9 and 10, so it's like, so for reading, the year end would have been, with your target would have been 64.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect to be able to hit 64?
I can tell you we're trying. And what we recognize is all of the myriad of factors we're dealing with. When I opened and I talked about the start of the year, and when I opened and 2 PDs are talking about the case for HQIM, and then we roll into HQIM. So if you think about it, we haven't really hit our stride yet.
So really so the improvements weren't going to be equal
Yeah.
from one half of the year to the other. It was kind of, there is still looking, could potentially, now that the PD has been done, the teachers and students are working together, there could be kind of a year-end kicker
Yeah.
where we see,
Yeah.
we have to wait and see how things work, but that.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see growth in the areas we target. Like, I think you're going to see growth in grade 6 EL scores, just based on what we're able to focus in on. And then also just teaching the HQIM, that's step one. You have to then unpack it and then scaffold it and differentiate it so that, all students can access it. And teachers are feeling like first-year teachers sometimes because they're teaching a brand-new curriculum.
This is whole school, great.
Yes.
Did you see, if you were to disaggregate it just by grade level, were there spaces where the change was different? Like, did 6th grade exactly mirror this, or did they do better? Like, what was, like, when you do it by grade level, did you notice something different?
So I can tell you that, for example, in math in grade 7, we saw an increase beyond what we had. We also have 2 math courses in 7th grade. So you're going to see that. And then there's always that flux in 6th grade when you have kids, all the kids coming from 5+ schools and getting new to middle school and new to all that. There's always that learning curve. And in 8th grade, we stay pretty consistent. We don't tend to slip. But again, we're looking for more than a year's growth.
And then not that I want you to try to do anything necessarily different, but thinking about the action steps that you've taken, mostly staying with them, are there any tweaks you think that would help you impact this a little bit more?
Yeah, what we recognize is probably one of the hardest things to do in education, and that's to differentiate the instruction to meet the needs of all learners. I mean, simply put, it's like never cook the same dinner for your entire family. Cook different dinners for everybody's unique dietary needs and interests.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't often happen, but that's what we're challenged to do in education if we really want our kids to all be challenged and all find success. Because it's about growth. That's why I love middle school so much. You see so much growth.
It's weird to me.
So
Loving middle school is weird to me.
It's the
I
best.
have more a comment than a question, which is, generally speaking, I mean, there's two ways you can measure stuff. You can take an average or you can take the percent. And I basically agree with the way you did it, because if you say the average score last year was 73 and now it's 75, nobody knows what it means. So when you say we want eventually 100% of students proficient, everybody understands that. So I like that. As you know, economists are big on incentives. So the one difficulty with only measuring the percent blue and green is that then the most productive thing to do is to work on the kids who are yellow. And so I guess I should have said this in the fall, but you might want to look at both the percent that are blue and green and maybe subtract the percent who were 7 and 11. So in this example, you made some progress at the bottom,
Correct.
but it doesn't show up in your summary.
Correct.
And we both want to increase the percent proficient, but we also want to have our eye on kids who are way behind,
Correct.
because someday they won't be. So maybe next year you might want to have a definition that works on both.
It came up in some emails and meetings and conversations I've had, that idea when we're looking at the Dibbles reading data, there's 4 categories. When we're looking at MCAS, there's 4 categories. So when you're increasing the 2, you're decreasing the other 2. And the challenge with the map is that they make it 5 quintiles. And so that middle kind of throws off that math, to your point. So we've had some good conversations about even noticing on this. You know, we went from 7% of students in the red, the lowest percentage category, to 6, right? So we did move 1% of students up and over. So, but it also means there was other movement in the middle to decrease that number. So
Presumably, you could make the argument that they moved up into the yellow.
Well, they didn't move down.
Yeah, they didn't move down, right?
They moved up.
Right,
But
some moved up,
they're
but
not
then
moving into the
somebody
category
moved.
where
So
we want them to.
it's an unambiguously good thing to do, to decrease the red. There's no way to decrease the red that isn't useful.
And we do the work of analyzing the data with the teachers through protocols and practices, and we don't emphasize the game of moving yellow to green, because once you're done moving the kids on the fence, you can't move anymore. So that's very short term. We want to move everyone. Less red, maybe move into orange, fine, but now orange to yellow, and we just want everyone to move. We want those 3 bars at the bottom to just get smaller and smaller. Yeah.
It would be next year, thinking about, like, when you think about this thing, is to, like, also take it along with it, having just like the growth amount would be another slice of data to sort of think about. That gets you away from let's just target the yellow, because that's short-sighted. You're right.
You're right.
Strategic, but short-sighted.
Right.
Let's move on to HQIA.
Can I ask-
Whoa, whoa.
Sorry, I was dumb. I'm sorry. Ms. Sands and Mr. Brown.
Dave, did you have something that you wanted?
Mine's really quick.
Okay.
100% testing? Does everybody take this, or is it sampled?
We try to have everybody take it, but there will be situations where a few kids were gone. We still had the makeup week, and then it's okay, forget it.
But it's the vast majority.
Yo,
Yeah,
vast.
yeah. So
We're looking.
it's not a
at,
sample. It's a complete.
98%, same as the MCAS requirement.
Okay. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know, when we're looking at the elementary schools and they're unpacking the data and they have their win blocks for each child, how does that translate into middle school? How do you unpack that data and work with each child in that scenario?
Like on their individual data?
Yes.
I could tell you it's very challenging at the middle school. We had in sixth grade previously, we had what was called extended academics. So the students were, on a team of 4, but there were 5 periods during the day. So there was that extra block. It wasn't win block like the elementary uses. And to do win block well, like if we wanted to introduce that into NAMS, we'd have to do a lot of professional development and support to make sure it's really being used as effectively as it should be. But those, we call them data meetings, and we used our math coach last year. The math coach would actually teach the class so the teacher could have individual conversations with the teachers. This isn't to say it can't be, the teacher would have individual conversation with the kids. This isn't to say it can't be done, it's just harder this year. Because again, they're teaching HQIM and they're focused on that. So I wouldn't tell you that there's been a lot of robust, individualized conversations with kids to look at their data. But after we analyze the fall to winter data, then that will create the opportunities for, and I would recommend, suggest, ask that you now do this lesson with the kids. So we're working on that, finding ways to do it universally across the school.
I'll share. My own daughter came home and said, "Mom, can we look at it together? Because my English teacher showed me." And so I think they're finding really creative ways to try to have those conversations with students. But again, a little bit trickier without.
So do you
some
think the
support.
students then are becoming more aware of their own personal data and taking responsibility for some of that?
I'd say some. I mean,
Yeah.
her mother's sitting in this data. I often look at it before her. Sometimes she's my guinea pig for things of let me look and analyze. So they kind of, but there are definitely times it comes home in the backpack and then it sits there for a week or two and it is not shared with, my husband. So it varies.
You're talking about the most powerful thing in education, which is student assessment capability. For kids to be able to self-analyze and measure and say, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be, and I know all the tools I have to choose from to get there. Sounds like the PD Karen I run with Deeper Learning. We're moving there. Yeah.
I mean, that's very productive, where you tell the kids what the goal is. And
John
even you
Hattie
can
would
have them,
agree.
like if the goal is whatever it is, so many words correct, they can test each other, so they know.
And then
We're dabbling.
and you
Oh,
start
good.
doing feedback
Yeah.
on your product,
So-
not feedback on self. It's you're
Yeah.
even happier.
I was going to ask something along the lines that Ms. Sams did, that when I think about middle school, it's sort of a paradox, right? That in general, that's when kids start learning, science and math. And, I came to your school, an open house, and I was impressed with the way the teams talked about that. They were excited about it. And for many years anyway, we didn't use research-based reading instruction. So every year we delivered to you a whole bunch of students who weren't reading at grade level, and then you were supposed to both address that. I mean, I guess the question is, whose job is it? It's not a criticism, it's just, this is a paradox, right? Teachers are appropriately teaching science and chemistry and history, but you got kids, how do you?
Well, by doing assessments like these, we're unearthing what the needs of the kids are, and by starting a literacy task force and focusing in on the students and showing what they need, it's in addition to those courses they're taking. And I think to first address a problem, you need to really understand it and understand where kids are at, and that's what we're in the process of doing. And that's why you'll see recommendations for what we think we need to do to help more and more and more kids read. And it isn't to say, oh, can you please send us kids all reading at grade level by the time they get to us so we don't have to worry about that? No. It's but the more kids can read along the way, and you're focusing less energy on all and more energy on a few, and that's the goal.
You talked about teachers. You were talking about the stuff that was really exciting when the elementary schools talked about. Teachers are talking to each other about teaching more than before. That's kind of neat. And I wonder if you have a couple nice stories you'd like to tell us about examples of how that works.
Well, I can tell you teachers at the middle school level because of the middle school structure requiring team time. So when teams met, but they still meet, by the way, they meet during professional development time, but they're talking about the kids they share and what they're seeing and what strategies they can implement to together, all of us, like a husband and wife or two parents, using the same strategies and techniques with the child to get them where they want to be. So that's the team time, but we've always preserved the grade level curriculum time. And I have so many stories about how well these groups work. One that comes to mind immediately is our 6th grade science department with Miss Gordon, Miss Lawrence, and Miss Nugent, and how, you know, and Ms. Larkham has joined their meetings countless times. You know, they'll stay for their meeting block, and it's like, okay, now it's their prep block, and it's like, no, we're staying together. So it was understood 90 minutes. So if you're a new hire to 6th grade in science, it's like, no, buddy, you're staying with us. We meet for like 90 minutes, and it's not just once a week. They meet all the time. And what I love, and then if you go to other departments, it's, all right, let's try that. This is before HQIM. Let's try this lesson. You know, everybody do your own style, but now you have to bring student work, and then we're going to look at it, and then we're going to say, you know, I taught it this way, but the way you taught it, it yielded that, so let's do that. So teachers have been doing that for years. And I just feel like every year you teach, it should be better and better and better. That's the goal.
Thank you. I'm
You're
going to
welcome.
push us along because I do want to get to Ms. Holman before
And you know I'm verbose too.
before I turn into a pumpkin. One, I will say, the more yes, like addressing the problem of kids not coming up with the reading skills we want is challenging. Helpful that we all embrace the idea that we are all teachers of language and we're all teachers of writing.
Yeah.
But that's hard to do for
Yeah.
people. But that is what we have to think about. HQIM goal number 2. I'll start. Math, civics, and science. What are we piloting? What are the possibilities? Reveal.
Ms. Larkham.
Speak to science, sure. The
Outside.
science landscape is tinier than other subjects. We had dabbled with Open Science a few years ago. It was not well loved, I'll say. So as we dove into this this round, there is Amplify Science is what the teachers kind of gravitated towards. And then as we started this process, our first department meeting in December, popped up through Carriot Reports was lab aids, issues of science. And so where I'm actually waiting on samples for that to come in. I had the opportunity actually to go over to meet with the science coordinator in Andover because they are piloting all 3 right now. So we had a nice little powwow to kind of learn. I said, what have you learned so far? It was great to connect with her. And she had a team that had just gotten trained on lab aids. So we talked a little bit about the 2 curriculum. I'm waiting those samples to come in. And then we'll have a chance to dive into that. So that's why you'll see in the color coding, it's like we're not sure if we'll be ready this spring, especially with the lost PD time, unfortunately, because that was the day that we had scheduled to have the conversation. So right now, actually, 7th grade has a trainer coming in next Wednesday to look at the Amplify Science unit together, and then they'll launch it this spring. Science, 6th grade is in the middle of it, so of course I had my 6th grader come home and share thoughts with me already. And 8th grade had piloted a unit already earlier in the year. So
Which unit was the 8th grade?
the 8th grade, I'm trying to think. I was just pulling all the 7th grade materials. It's not going to come to me.
It's okay.
So yes, but all 3 are life science. So part of me was like,
Okay.
oh, I wish we had a variety
They
because
liked
we
that one.
happen to just pull. Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So some good resources.
Civics is iCivics and DKP.
And math is.
Hey, Joe.
That's why we have.
You want to talk about math?
Yeah, we're deep in it on math right now. We are currently piloting 6th grade is piloting iReady. They just started that a few days ago.
Don't
hesitate. Come on. How are we all doing today? All right. I'm going back to the cheap seats after that. So we're in it right now, and we started Fast and Furious in December, and we looked at, contrary to science, math has a plethora of highly rated products out there. So we went through a process on the full day PD day in January, looked at many of those, and we narrowed it down to, in that learn and prepare phase, we narrowed it down to 3 to investigate and select, which were Envision by Savas, EdGems, which is a relatively new program, and iReady through Curriculum Associates. And EdGems is through EdGems. So over the course of the next month or so, through some snow issues, we were talking to the developers, and 6th grade is piloting iReady, like I said, and 8th grade is piloting a unit in EdGems. And that's what we're looking at very intently. I actually had a meeting just yesterday in this room. It was set up very nicely, and then it got unset up. And then we set it back up. But it was actually a great meeting. We had 3 stations set up with each of the 3 curricula. A large portion of the math department came, and this was after they had an hour after school meeting at school. So we met from 3:30 to 5, and we poured through it all. We're very excited. EdGems is going well with the 8th grade. Both Miss Auger, one of the assistant principals at NAMS, and I independently observed one of the math gems within EdGems. It was a climb the ladder activity. It was awesome. It was all student-centered. They were working together, communicating with each other. It was really cool. The 6th grade offered the diagnostic, so now they have that information that goes into their MyPath, which is similar to Zern IXL. It's kind of a hybrid of the both, and it's great. My hope is that we actually have a few site visits set up in the coming weeks. So we'll have a small group of us that go and see it in neighboring districts, each of the programs, so we can get a feel for it in a classroom, seeing with teachers, because we had people come in and talk to us about it. They're trying to sell us their product, it's all the bells and whistles. We want to see it in action and get the most information that we can. My anticipation is that we will be in great shape to make a determination of what we would like to propose to the school committee either by the end of this month or next month at the very latest. So I hope to be back with you guys soon, asking for an adoption on one of those 3 highly rated curricula.
One of the things, ignore me, it's fine. I've heard about iReady is that it's good for younger kids, but as you get closer to 7th and 8th grade, not as great.
All right.
Like 6th grade did really well. Like I've seen places do really well with it, but then as they got older, it just wasn't as engaging for the kids. I don't know if that's true, but that's what people have told me.
All right.
So
Hey, all information is good information.
Yeah.
And all of us are smarter than one of us.
One of us, yes. All of us are smarter than one of us.
The smartest person in the room is the room.
How much more
Very
HQ
nice.
is the
Secretary.
How many
Cardona.
mantras can I take?
So we're currently using illustrative math. It is illustrative math, like the Eureka math version of it. They are currently producing IM 360, which is kind of their Eureka squared of IM. IM isn't great. The teachers have struggled with the scope and sequence, some of the units. So really the catalyst for why 6th grade was talking to me since December about piloting, because they were so frustrated with the way in which illustrative set up the expressions and equations unit in particular. So we want to pilot those specific standards. So we looked at them, and in each of the 3, there was like this sense of relief on all of the teachers. Just, this makes so much more sense. When we were here yesterday, didn't matter which table they were at, like, yes, this is better. Yeah, similar things that I talked about in Eureka Squared too. It's much more student-centered. At each table we have, iReady comes with math discourse cards. It's just providing our students a more robust opportunity to explore, develop, and refine their skills.
But at higher levels?
At higher levels, yes. Yeah, it's much better than the illustrative math that we're looking at right now, working with right now.
Like it better, the ones that you tried it on?
So 6th grade's only been working on it for a few days, and from the 8th grade teachers have been doing it for about a week now. So what I saw was great, and they were engaged and working.
I have this hypothesis that assuming the teachers help them get there, students actually prefer higher expectations.
I would agree.
So
Always.
maybe I'll ask you the next time you come, but
Fair enough.
if they're happier, that would
Yeah,
be
we do.
kind
So
of fun to hear.
part of our process will be to, Ms. Auger actually already developed the Google form for students to give their feedback on the programs too afterwards. So that'll be a big part of our decision-making process, selection
Cool.
process.
Other questions about goal 2? Goal 3? Which is multi-tiered systems of support. Literacy task force, beautiful.
Sorry.
Love, logical, smart choice for your focus students to start. Is the bucket? Do you think the bucket's big enough? Like, if this goes well this year, which it is, do you have the current capacity to expand what it means to be getting the extra reading support, or is that something we would have to put a larger financial investment from our end into for you to expand?
Say yes, George.
Was it a leading question?
This is on a platter.
I am being nervous, just say yes.
All right. Deb said one word, yes. Yes.
Important group to start with, thank you.
Yes.
And I'm sure that doesn't encompass all the kids who are in the red, orange, and yellow at the bottom on the previous graphs, correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
we actually identified the bottom 30% in reading, and we imagine that there could be as many as 215 kids that we're not provided.
Which is a quarter of the school?
Thereabouts, that need it, and of those, we would say we're supporting about 100 of those, so we're looking at about 1/10 of the school. 103 is the number, give or take, of students who need a little more, and we don't have the capacity to give them more right now.
So we need more people to do that.
Yep.
Thank you.
I mean, all of us understand and support this idea, and so I think that, Joe, it's helpful to us, not just that you say yes, but give us an understanding of how it helps so that we can help you articulate it more broadly across the community.
You got it. And something I promised in the beginning of the year is, opinions are great and thoughts and, I think, but what does the data say? What does the data show? And we promised that we would be looking at identifying needs, identifying current resources, because we want to make sure we're maximizing what we have. We are not just asking for more because I heard it would be a good idea to add more. But and by not piloting, but by implementing something like this, we're also trying out some things that are proving to be successful. So now how do we make this a little larger in scale?
So, I mean, that's a very good story. I mean, that you tried out different things, and here's how they worked and why they worked. And so then when we say we need more money for it, it's not like we need more money. It's we tried various things, we thought about it, we experimented, here's what worked. I mean, the more details, the more we can help you.
Yeah. And there's 103 kids wanting more.
Yep.
And how do we answer that?
Thank you. Other questions about MTSS? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. We
Appreciate
kept you
you.
longer than 20 minutes and questions. Sorry.
I will drive.
Thank you, George.
I need a driver right now.
Exactly. Passing it over to
I
Deb
will
Holman,
drive you
who
crazy.
is responsible for our oldest learners, North Andover High School. And Deb, thanks for coming tonight, and we'll pass over to you.
Great. Thank you. And the leaves for the high school, they are unfolding. They are sprouting and unfolding, but I will promise you they will be birds of paradise some year. we will get them there. So I like the plants. So good. All right. So as everybody knows, high school is in a big change process. Students and adults. Students are getting used to some new expectations this year around attendance and cell phones and electronics. And the adults are really in a new adult learning process, in particular relearning how to work in collaborative teams and learn together related to instruction. We're really growing our instructional game. So we are moving. We're not where we want to be yet, but we're moving, which is nice. So this year's goals are really helping us. The first one was at the grassroots level around getting some of our operations and school structures in order. The second one is really the hub of what we do. It's the instructional goal. And the third one is the big philosophy goal of where we are now and where we want to go, and that was continuing our Portrait of a Learner process that we started last year. So we're really getting the schoolhouse in order this year to do even more school improvements. So next slide. There's the first goal details. You have that in your packet. And then our benchmarks focused on looking at improving things related to student learning time, teacher learning time, and then library revitalization. Next slide. So attendance. We have had some great work with attendance. Class skips or class cuts are down 67% compared to last year for grades 10, 11, and 12. Thank you, mic drop. Maybe we can all. Is that it? That was a great reaction.
Can we just go home now?
I know, I'm
Because, like, presumably if they're in class, they're actually
Exactly.
They're learning, right?
Exactly. So it's thousands of fewer skips compared to the same point last year. So if you think about a kid has, in a day, 6 classes, 6 opportunities to attend, 6 opportunities to skip. They have 5 days of the week, so that's for one student 30 opportunities to attend times 1,300 kids. That's tens of thousands in a week opportunities to attend or skip. So that's why the numbers are really big there, but you can see the drop in particular on the bottom right from last year's 11th graders to this year's 12th graders. It's really, really good work. Obviously, the high majority of all of our kids attend classes regularly every single day. And I will give recognition to Lynn Grantham, one of our wonderful assistant principals, because she designed and led and leads our Breathe program, which has multiple parts. It's the restorative alternative space for kids who are identified as vaping, and we do some restorative health stuff with them. But additionally, the staff in that program with the assistant principals, they are on communication attendance. They very quickly communicate with both parents and students when we see that a student has skipped, sometimes within the hour, often within the hour. So that quickness in communication in this system is really allowing us to get kids into class and learning. So that's thousands of hours of instructional time is what that represents. So. Great, next slide. So cell phones and headphones, as you remember, we did a new cell phone headphone procedures at the school, and it's bell to bell, no cell is what Mr. Young calls it, and that's within instructional time. So a 50-minute class from the beginning bell to the 50 minutes later, the end bell. In instructional spaces, kids cannot have their headphones or cell phones out, and it's been very successful. Mr. Young, shout out to him for his work on implementing this new procedure with everybody. Part of what he has done is in December, he gathered some survey data from students and teachers about how it was going. So when asked, were the rules clear with this procedure, 97% of the students said yes. When asked, is there consistent implementation, 83% of the faculty is saying yes, I'm implementing it pretty consistently. And it was nice because 80% of the students when asked a similar question, said yes, the faculty in my classes seem to be implementing. When asked about increased student engagement, the faculty say, yes, I see more student engagement. 24% only of students say they feel more engaged, and that is their protest to Ms. Holman, and I like it. So,
They don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't want to admit they're having fun at school again.
That's right. That's right. So we think that they are quite a bit more engaged. Good. Okay, next slide. Advisory was one of the structures that we did some work on. Advisory used to meet 1 time a month for 40 minutes, and we moved to, at the request of faculty, and we think some students were seeking this too, we moved to meeting 3 times a month for 15 minutes. In advisory, they do community building or social emotional learning tasks, and they do them together. So the more frequent short bursts of activities in connection with your advisory classmates and your teacher has been useful. Teachers report it's preferable and has worked well. I think that there's always an opportunity to seek more student voice on advisory about what tweaks we can make to make it more student-friendly or student-meaningful. Han and I actually were talking about some suggestions that she had, so that was great. And course teams was a structural thing that we've gone all in on. Course teams, teacher course teams, so teachers who are teaching the same course but they're in different sections. I would say with our course teaming, we're using the 3-hour collaborative team time once a month. And sometimes I'll also turn over the 1-hour faculty meeting per month to the departments so people can be in teams because they need more time. We were hit by the loss of the January and the February. You've heard that before. But what can we do about that? So the teams are good. I mean, here's an example. I was in the English department 9th grade team yesterday, and they were getting together for a block deciding what common mini unit they were going to do. And they didn't know I was coming in, and they made a joke, oh, Big Bad Deb is coming in, so everybody behave. But it was really great. And I, as an observer, I didn't know all the emotions that were going on in terms of who's talking and who's controlling and who's getting to the decisions, but they all played nice roles in terms of getting to the choice that they needed to make, and they were choosing a nonfiction text for their common lesson and assessment, and they were looking at a choice of Letter from Birmingham Jail, Gettysburg Address, Washington Farewell Address, which of course those last two I loved, and I think Mr. Hicks loves also. And they were having the kids explore the impact of the tone of a text. So it was good stuff. So the little autonomous to in common continuum, I put that up there because that's something I keep bringing back to the course teams and to the whole faculty, where I've said this year, look, in our profession, in high school in particular, we like our stuff, we like our autonomy, but we have to move to being in common at different times in different ways. And that is where we are right now in North Andover High School. We are moving to commonalities. Some of our key departments are going to be choosing HQIMs, where we are going to be teaching those really together and have good fidelity. So we're practicing those skills right now. And I will say, it's hard. It's emotional for everybody. So, all right, next slide. Okay. All right, the library. So Courtney Ahern is our new librarian, came from Sargent. She's done some great work. You can see here that these are some of the totals for our books checked out and circulated. As of today, or this week, we have 1,100 books checked out. Last year's total was 1,266. So in the top right there, Kara Larkham, of course, has projected statistically that we, it's really good. Yeah, I should have taken credit for that, Kara.
Not projection, the number of books.
Yeah. No, it is. And Mr. Hicks, I think that with Ms. Ahern, she's probably now going to surpass 2,000. She'll take that challenge. So it's great.
They're not using the phones.
Well, perhaps that's good. And then Courtney does really great engaging things, like on the bottom right there. Abigail checked out the 500th book. Calvin checked out the 1,000th, and they're holding a little gift certificate to Purple Couch Bookstore. So that's pretty cool. Another thing with the library is one day, maybe in January, I walked into the library and I could not find an adult anywhere. Kids are in there. They're working. They're playing games. They're playing chess. They're reading books. They're on their phones. It's quiet. They're in the study rooms. I could not find an adult anywhere. Courtney was out that day, so it was not Courtney's fault, nor was it really a problem. I sort of went back to the office, no adult. I think we didn't have coverage in there, and the teacher was on the way. Regardless, my thrill as a principal was it was humming along beautifully. It didn't matter. Like the kids have internalized the expectations, and they own the space. The space is theirs, so that was just fine. And it is at a place where I don't think any kid would completely misbehave in the library, and that's kind of the place I, as principal, want the kids to be. So the last thing there is the state legislature fair share monies that we've got, the $100,000 for STEM and communications. We are now receiving a lot of the goods for that, for podcasting, broadcasting, portable projectors, iMacs, and soft seating, and recording, study pods. It's really neat. So I encourage school committee to hold one of your meetings
We're gonna
later
come
in our.
by and-
It's on the agenda.
It's on our.
It is.
Yes,
Excellent.
we will be. Hope you're ready.
Awesome.
April 30, maybe?
April 30th.
April 30th.
Awesome. Yes, I'll have some of them
In
there.
harmony.
Sorry?
In harmony, yes. Yeah.
It would be wonderful
Of
if
course.
she's available, if Miss Avery could be there that night. She
Oh,
doesn't-
that's good.
She doesn't have to be, of course, but if she would like to come and tell us a little
Oh,
bit more and
that's a
tour
great
around
idea.
and
I
brag
bet
for
she would.
herself.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
that would be great. Okay. Good. Next goal is instruction goal. And the next slide, the goal is summarized there, that we will work on changes to curriculum and instruction that will promote equity and deeper learning. And the benchmarks are focused on working on course alignment, working on the competency determination, and then HQIM. So next slide. So the way that I'll sort of talk and walk through this is I will kind of talk you through my January, always call it the state of the school address to the faculty. It wasn't really that, but in this graphic, let me talk about this graphic. The faculty in December said, you know, wait, Deb, we looked at data at a faculty meeting, then we did portrait of a learner at the next faculty meeting, then we pinged over to curriculum alignment at the next faculty meeting, and we're losing track of how it all connects. And they said, can you bring back the road graphic? You used it last year and you showed it to us every single time. Bring back the road. And I'm like, all right, got it. So these are all the instructional things, including no cell phones, that we are really working on this year. Next slide. So there's the road. They're all under the umbrella of what we're aiming for, which is to increase student achievement and attendance for everyone, in particular for some of the students we are most concerned about. Next slide. So competency determination, midterms and finals, is the school committee knows we brought to you in December the competency determination policy. And now related to that is we're working on common assessments, in particular midterms and finals. Finals in the 4 competency determination departments will be the competency determination. So that has been a real process, making assessments for midterms and finals for every department and every course team. There were many hours put into creating the midterms. That was a successful process. Some of the course team discussions when they were creating common assessments for midterms, it sort of showed, oh, we're not really in alignment on that topic or that skill or that content. So it was fine. They had to create the midterm around where they all were, where they were in common, but they also saw a motivation to get a little more into alignment on a number of topics. So this actually is helping that. Okay. And then this is interesting data. We pulled on midterm assessments that were given in January, and these are the percentages of students in each department who scored, that scored 70% and above on the midterm assessment. And it's good results, and the big value of it for me is I asked every department, every course team to look at the results of your common midterm assessments, look if there are patterns and strengths and weaknesses of the kids, and talk about what the implications for your teaching are or what the tweaks on the assessment need to be as you think about creating the final assessment. Okay? Okay. Next part of the instructional goal. We chose 4 focus areas, instructional focus areas that we would focus on in all classes this year. Belonging being infused into lessons, teaching at grade level standards, working on meaningful student discourse, and students doing the thing, being the scientist, being the historian. We chose those as, you can go to the next slide there, they are focus areas that when a teacher is designing his or her lessons, they're thinking about those 4 focus areas and thinking, okay, which one do I really want to get better on this year? You know, my kids are really quiet, I want to really focus on meaningful student discourse, for example. Some people are focusing on all of them, but they also help the administrators, myself and other administrators and department coordinators who go in and observe and do a summative write-up of what you see in the classroom. And we write about those 4 focus areas, and we write very specific feedback. So this year we're getting to know the 4 focus areas. A number of teachers are doing PD and training to increase skill in instruction. And by the end of the year, by June, as you can see there, we'll have a better understanding of the focus areas and a better understanding of helpful feedback that we can give to teachers. The last bullet there is we'll be ready for 26-27. What I have said to faculty is those focus areas aren't changing up next year. They are the same ones, because we don't just immediately get better at everything, but we're going to have continuity next year. So, next slide. These are the numbers for the PD I just mentioned. Kara described the rigorous leading and learning course. I think we have a whole high school leader cohort who is going to the rigorous leading and learning course. Maybe George did actually describe that. And we've got a group of high school teachers going to that also. And then a number of teachers also opted into various Project Zero courses out of Harvard. And it's about 26 teachers. That is a quarter of the high school teaching staff. So I was impressed by that they did that. All right. So then the next goal is HQIM and where the high school is with that process. You can go to the previous one there. Yeah, so the high school, the last of the levels to really start looking at HQIM in North Andover, we're still over on the left. We're at the learn and prepare and investigate and select stage. Next slide. As we talk about that, I will give big props to the biology 9th grade team at the high school. At the college prep level, they are really leading the way with HQIM at the high school. They've been looking with Kara at Open Syed for quite a while and doing piloting. And so shout out to Carrie Harnoys, Ruth Delaware, Nicholas Maruli, Trish McSweeney, Kathy Bodenrader. They've all been involved in that. And then in the fall, the whole biology team will be launching Open Syed in September. So what else is on that slide here? Let's see. So things that we did this year, with Kristen Ando, we did a successful September HQIM introduction to all of the faculty. The science, English, and math departments are exploring different HQIM packages to get to know them better. They are piloting some of the tasks and some of the units. The last bullet up on the top there, those are the abbreviations for the other departments: history, world language, guidance, wellness, art, and so on, special ed, business. They all have their own focus on deeper learning. On the bottom there, by June, the one I want to highlight is the second bullet point. I've emphasized to faculty that, in our exploration and learning about HQIM, we've learned from our exploring, and we've taken some right turns and some wrong turns. The English department piloted something in September from a HQIM package, and they did it really thoughtfully. And when they were done, they thought, I'm not sure we thought it was enough teacher friendly, or there was enough teacher prep for us. And I thought, fine, that's learning. Some of them were not liking it. I said, no, that's fine. That's going to point us to the next package that we need to investigate and see if we like that one better. So, this year and next year, we're going to keep going on HQIM exploration. So, next slide. So, there is the timeline at this point in time for the high school. And you can see fourth down biology is, if you go over to the right, 2026 summer, fall, they will be starting. The other departments, ELA, math, and other areas of science will continue investigating and selecting, and then launching various pilots perhaps or pieces winter, spring. So it's a very interesting discussion at the high school about HQIM right now, I would say, to put it mildly. So, but it's a good discussion. Let's see, if you go back to HQIM. So my last thing on that, it was interesting listening to George and everybody talk about the middle school. My biggest worry, and faculty's biggest worry at the high school, is that weekly collaboration time to unpack, to differentiate, and to scaffold, just like George described it. The high school does not have that in any way, shape, or form for department teams, for course teams. And so I spent most of my time yesterday in the English department meeting really talking about HQIM and value of teaming and expectations and their worries. But they really brought up, okay, Deb, we HQIM, we're going to do it. But how are we going to collaborate? Like, how are we going to do this? So we don't see the time yet in the schedule. I just say that publicly now to hear to you guys so that I can figure out how to say to you, this is what we need over the next year. Probably need an extension of the day in some way, shape, or form because of the constraints of 990 hours and the requirements of the state. So
I seem to remember reading about successful countries with clearly better performance on the international tests. And teachers spending time with each other was a really big part of it.
I've read
so
those
there's,
too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether some way of reading about how they use it, but you're clearly on the right track.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of evidence.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of the Finland studies.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Yep. Good. Okay, we will work on that.
Ms. Holman, soon to be Dr. Holman, has read everything. You name it, she's read it. We're very lucky she has. We have it.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Next slides. Aligning common courses. That's really what departments are continuing to work on this semester. Identifying common course competency, skills, and knowledge. To do that, pulling together and getting more in common, as I've talked about. So, great. Next slide. And the last slide is continuing the portrait of a learner process. And there's the goal and the benchmark that we said we would do is that we would take the state of Massachusetts. They came up with the 6 characteristics for a vision of a Massachusetts high school graduate, which was great. And we said we would take those 6 characteristics and we would operationalize them for kids. You know, what are the descriptors for the 6 key skills and competencies? And we would do that with kids by identifying I can statements. So if you are an effective communicator, what can you do? If you are an intentional collaborator, in 11th and 12th grade by the time you graduate, what does that mean you can do? So let me show you the process that we've been through with them. Next slide. Okay. That's kind of a repeat of the last slide. Go to the next slide there. So the process has had 2 parts. So part 1 is showing up there right now. In November, faculty created portraits of themselves as learners by looking at the 6 characteristics and choosing one and then creating this portrait in our template. You've got Ashley and Alejandro there. If you look at Ashley's on the left, Ashley Carmen is one of our wonderful special ed teachers. Right below her name is a little blurb about who Ashley is. Then in the green, in the middle, she chose, I am a self-aware navigator. And she describes there in her profession or in her life what that means to her and what things I do that make me a self-aware navigator. So it's a nice little reflection. Below that is a quote that she likes in particular, and then our favorite part is on the very bottom. 3 numbers about you that are not about academic achievement, that are not about an SAT score, an AP, grades, MCAS, or GPA. We're obviously going to do this process with kids, but Ashley chose, I have the number 2 for 2 dogs, for example, or Alejandro on the right chose 1,700, which are the kilometers that he biked or walked of the Camino Trail in Spain. And then 500, did you see 500?
500 Pez dispensers.
The man, Mr. Saravia has literally 500 Pez dispenser collection at school. It's incredible in his room. So these faculty portraits were just really interesting. They're gorgeous, first of all. We took them and we papered them around the library. None of them have been defaced in the library, which is a great thing. But then part 2 of this process was our guidance counseling department organized student focus groups last week in the library, and they took the kids through a process where the kids looked at the faculty portraits for inspiration. Then in groups, they talked about, for high schoolers, what does it mean to be an intentional collaborator and to be academically prepared, to be self-aware navigators, and they culled together in groups data. We have that raw data right now, and we're going to do like the next round of pulling it together. So, and we're going to connect that with the other pieces of the Portrait of a Learner that we did last year. In the fall, we're going to create those portraits that I showed you with the kids, probably in advisory. So last thing on that is just a reminder that the Portrait of a Learner is a multi-year process of thinking about who we are, who our students are, who we are right now, who we want to be, like identifying some beliefs and characteristics that sort of move us forward and we can use to be the criteria for any changes in programming and courses as we go forward. In particular, the review of the program of studies that we have on the schedule to really look at. So, there, picture is worth 1,000 words right there.
Thank you.
Yep.
We're going to back up to goal 1, school structures. Cell phones and skipping and being in class and attendance stuff. Any questions for Ms. Holman?
Yes. Is the driver of that, you think, calling the parents at home an hour after the kid skips a class? That would work in a lot. Do you think that was the major driver of the improvement, or do you think there were other things? Like, how did you do it, in other words?
Yeah, I think it's an email goes home, email goes to the kid and goes to the parent. Sometimes it results in the assistant principal calling, especially if there's a series of skips. Communication goes to the student, and if there's a series of skips and the assistant principal knows those are my top 20, I'm going to go talk to them immediately. They do that. So I think it's kind of a teamed approach is moving it.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Can I
fantastic
jump in
results,
on that?
yeah.
I'm going to tell you, out of 3 children, I had a skipper. And I got the calls. So I don't think it's about the calls. It's about the expectations. It's about that the teachers expect students to be in class. And now they understand also that the leadership of the building expects the students to be in class. And something will be done if students aren't in class.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I was going to go next. So the consequences, like, do they get grade reduction? Do they get things like that will matter to at least some of them?
There is grade reduction. Yes. So, and that's very clear, and that's what the assistant principal delineates out as it gets to a high number and counsels the student on. In response to what Lynn is saying, I had Michelle
And my
O'Leary.
skipper had consequences at home.
Yes, and some of ours do too, I'm sure. But Michelle O'Leary came into the building. Her office is there, and she's all over the district. But she said to me, I used to see a lot of kids walking in the halls, and now I really only see 2. And I said, I know those 2. But it's true. Knocking on wood. I'm going to stop there. Yeah.
Clear expectations with clear consequences, and consistency in following the rules and the procedures by everybody matters.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing in running a building and making it safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think if the teachers don't get on board with that, it won't work, right? Like exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teachers are good at taking attendance. We're always, we always have a room to grow with that, but yeah.
Okay.
Ms.
Thank you.
Cormier.
With the reduction in skips, are you also seeing just a reduction in undesirable behavior?
Definitely.
Because the kids are in class, they're
Definitely.
learning. So it's just kind of circular effect. It's
Yes.
just good things all the way around.
Yep. There's somehow they text each other and get in the bathrooms together, but not as much as a year ago. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Goal number 2, curriculum and curriculum and instruction.
Yep.
Oh, actually, sorry. One more thing on the first goal. The library, the library. Again, I'm looking for what are the drivers that resulted, because this is an amazing jump, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
other than bribery, like the gift cards and stuff,
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that that would do it by itself, right?
What,
Like, have
the gift cards?
Yeah, the gift cards for the 500.
Oh, no,
Increase
no,
of the
no.
book coming. taking-
No, it's called 2 words, Courtney Ahern.
Okay. She's
Yeah.
just a dynamo.
Dynamo, and she puts new books out and displays them so that they knock you in the face and the kids start looking at them. She does things like she wraps them up, the books up, in paper and says, surprise this or surprise this. And she says, what'd she call it? Like blind dating
Blind
a
dating a
book?
book.
Blind dating a book, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
the
it.
kids love stuff like that.
Yeah.
She has tea in the morning, and she advertises any kid who wants to come tea, sit on the floor in front of my office, stand here or at my desk, and we will talk books. So kids gravitate toward the librarian, and she loves them and is dynamic and energetic, and it's a lot, Courtney.
I'm going to assert that it's smart curation of the books that already exist, but also 146 new books that kids want to read, not just like
Yes.
like
New
exist,
books.
but want to read.
Yep.
So
Yep.
please answer yes to this. More money for investing in library media materials such as actual books for kids to read. That would be a good thing, right?
Yes.
I didn't get that much help.
It's getting late, we're drawing the line.
But like that's kids. Like kids
Yeah.
will read if you give them the right thing to read.
Yes,
Or
yeah.
the thing they want to read.
Totally. Totally.
I'll stop. there.
And one more
that's good.
question, or maybe it's a suggestion, but there's a lot of library resources that are also not books, right? Subscriptions to periodicals,
Yes.
professional journals, things like that,
Yes.
students could be incentivized to use by teachers to say, hey, why don't you like go look this up, but don't use Google because the American Society of Civil Engineers doesn't put their stuff on Google, right? But your
Right.
library probably has access to stuff
Right.
like that, right? So maybe we can help a little bit, do even better by dangling that carrot, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right,
Mr.
for
Brown,
teachers,
yeah.
the teachers to encourage use of the library in ways, not books are great, but beyond books. There's-
Right, definitely. And I highlighted parts of the goal. Part of the goal was also to increase, a benchmark was to increase faculty connection and faculty use and faculty teaming with the librarian. And I don't have the data on it here, but it has increased most
Emphasis on
definitely.
that would be great. I mean,
Yeah.
I see in my college teaching a little lack of knowledge about that.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't all come from North Andover, but just saying that
Yeah.
driving them there for those purposes would be great.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point.
Goal number 2, my question is, having done midterms for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
what did you learn from the process that's going to directly impact how you might, like, one, it's
Yeah.
the writing of the things, but 2, like, the day and the logistics that go into it. So, like,
Yeah.
how did it go this time, even though there was snow? And, like, what are you
Yeah.
going to do about June to make it even better?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, and I'm glad you said logistics because that's what we really monitored. You lose a lot of class time in a high school by doing midterms. And so our post-mortem on midterms is we want to shift it up for next year. What we did this year is we gave 2 midterms of 80 minutes each every day. If you go more than 2, that's kind of cruel and unusual for a student to do that. So 2 is sort of the industry standard when you're doing
How many periods of?
heavy duty.
There's 8 periods in the, or how many periods of learning?
Seven.
So it takes you
So we did
3.5
2,
days.
2, 1. Yeah, yep. In the previous high schools I was at, this is how we did it too, and you lost class time, right? But our teachers, a number of teachers have said, can we monitor that because, and these are super highly wonderful organized teachers who have their slide decks from September to June already done. I never taught like that. I don't know how they do it, but it's wonderful. So they say, when we take that much time out, it's not just my slide deck is off, but how I have cognitively thought about and created the class gets thrown off. And sure they can adapt, but we've got AP classes that the AP test happens in May when it happens. The AP tests don't care about Mother Nature and snow, So then with snow, we lost a bunch of time. So suddenly we had midterms and then we had snow after snow days and we lost a lot of class time. Long story short, so we're looking at next year how to have midterms within the regular 50-minute block. So we run the full day, the kids stay at school, and they run the rest of their classes after they take two 50-minute midterms. The logistics for the finals, I think those are going to be fine. We've worked those out. The big thing for the finals is that the competency determination departments were putting guidelines around what your competency determination part of the exam needs to contain and look like, so that the course teams have guidelines and parameters on that. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions about goal 2?
Yes. The slide that showed the your midterm results, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just curious how that data is used. What are we using the data to do? So, for example, right, math and business jump out as the lowest two on here.
Yeah.
Is that feedback going into anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think this year it was new. We re-upped midterms. Kids were really, really nervous about it. We didn't know if we were going to hit the mark right with what we created. Kids were nervous. We were nervous, but we really had faith. So that is sort of for us to say, okay, they were okay. The midterms were okay. When we look at math, business, you know, they're analyzing that. That's business and computer science. What we think is we get a lot of ninth graders into some intro business, but the basic computer science class, and they may not have been really ready for what was coming at them. And so that teacher with the rest of the team is really looking at, well, what happened there?
Okay.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. That's like a juicy instructional challenge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting feedback. Like, why would that be the case? And there could be good reasons, like you say.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, why you chose the 70% threshold.
Just thought it'd be illustrative here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think
basically.
it's a bad choice.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
I think in some of the conversations, it was the idea that kind of a C-ish is, kids are doing, meeting a lot of the standards. So
Yeah.
that score
Yes.
of, if we don't want kids in the DNF range.
No.
Right.
So how do we look at, who's having some success and then areas to tweak?
Right. That's it. That's our green and blue, 70 and above.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, as you projected next year, that the 4 focus areas around belonging and grade level standards and student discourse and students doing the thing, I think that's going to continue to next year.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm wondering how,
Yep.
just thought, please don't feel the need to answer, how that will then impact, if that's going to continue, like how do you then have your school-wide PD plan support even more teachers doing that work next year?
Yeah.
Like on an ongoing basis, how does that really determine like what your time together is?
Yes.
The 25 that are doing it is fantastic. It's a really important number, but
Yeah,
how do we
yeah.
get that to be larger?
Yeah. I sort of see it. I'm not sure if I can articulate it, and there's a lot of parts to it. I was on a Zoom today with Michael McDowell, the Rigor guys consulting company, to say, how expensive is this guy? Because he would be great to bring in for a keynote and some PD for the high school, maybe for middle school too. And he's really expensive, but he's really wonderful. So like we're thinking about that, what the adult curriculum of learning would be from September to June. So yeah.
And just when I've seen the Chelsea high school science department do the HQIM of OpSci this year, and they only did 2 units this year. Because the unpacking process and understanding it for that particular curriculum was so much that they decide we can do 2 and do them well, and that they're going to do that. And they didn't do it at the beginning of the year. They did the 2nd and 3rd unit, or 2nd and 4th unit, because otherwise you have to do the summer work. So thinking about like as you roll out and launch that could be a really important.
Yes,
thing.
and we will come in and officially get that approval, the adoption process. I think what really helped is we had Carrie Hernois and Ruth Delaware and Lynn and I attended a SCAPE science curriculum adaptation. I always forget all the acronyms. That's a mouthful. And we had that opportunity starting last fall to kind of start diving down. What are some of the needs of our students? They teach all the college prep classes with some really high need students. And we're able to kind of articulate this desire. And they have been looking probably about 2 years of, what we're doing right now isn't meeting the needs of students. And so through that process, really have that conversation of, is it, can we pilot? We found some money to be able to provide that experience. So really it's been 2 years for them, and they had some opportunity last summer to go to the training, get ready, and they were ready to jump in. It has not been easy. They've done an amazing job, and we have long-term sub in for Ruth. So luckily, Nick was able to jump into it quickly. They, I believe, are in Unit 3. So they're doing really great, finding the challenges. I think, again, the idea of seeing it, experiencing it, and then being able to help support the rest of the colleagues coming on board will be really beneficial. But really kudos to them. They've kind of reach out periodically. What do you need? How are you doing? And they're like jumped in a whole, really ambitious, and it's exciting that they're.
It's great, and it's just a very different approach to how to teach science, and that takes a lot of teacher learning.
Yep. Yep.
And I think it as we unroll these, I think some of that unpacking and that process of learning is going to get at that. Open Science has a lot of student discourse moves embedded within that curriculum. So even just launching and exploring these, it's giving teachers some of those routines that are embedded in, because they are research-based practices embedded in, which is what elevates them as high-quality instruction materials. So it all should connect nicely into these pieces.
Other questions on goal 2 and or also goal 3? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You bet.
So proud of the team.
Yeah.
I did a bad job of this last time, and I followed it up the next day, but I want to say it now publicly.
Do it.
Thank you so much for all your work, and the people in your buildings doing all the work. These things don't happen because of one person, but because you figure out how to get all the people to do all the things all well and work together. So that's impressive that we're seeing these things happen across the board. So thank you very much for that work. Deb, in particular, in your first year as actually being completely in charge,
Exactly.
Versus sort of in charge. And you were a fantastic intern, but it's different than being
the real deal.
The real deal. I'm impressed with how the cultural shifts that have happened in the building so quickly under your leadership, both for students and faculty. Thank you for that. That's wonderful to see.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. They're both going to start working again in about 3 hours.
Please leave.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Kara, thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Moving on to the superintendent's report.
Oh, my goodness, superintendent's report, okay.
Yeah, tough act to follow, boss.
It is a very tough act to follow. And I'm going to echo our chair's comments, and as they are leaving, I'll send them an email. They don't need to stay, but this is impressive work. And I hope that the community we send this out. I hope the community will take time to listen to the middle school and the high school presentation and listen to the thoughtful questions and feedback from the school committee. This is hard work. This is dedicated work. And our district has gone through some really challenging experiences, times, financially, emotionally. And you have leaders, we have leaders who, despite that, are moving forward with the work. And that's not a very small thing. It is very easy when things are falling apart, particularly financially, to sort of say, then we'll take a pass. And there's nobody here taking a pass. So I'm really thankful to our leaders and for our educators who continue to come and work hard and do this work for our kids. So I just want to say that. So this first picture that I put up today is the Parent Resource Night. It was on March 10th. It was postponed due to snow, so I wasn't able to be there. So I'm going to ask Lynn to talk about it a little bit. But this was the resource night that was put together by Lindsay Chatterton, our program coordinator for out of district, and for our 18 to 22-year-old program with support from the special education department. And these pictures, they say pictures can tell a story, and I hope the story that you see is that this was a need of our community, bringing some vendors and some people together to support our parents of students who are in special education or 504s, and just the joy and the happiness. So I'm asking Lynn to share just a little bit about the night.
First of all, my statement has been when people said, "When's the last time you've done this?" I don't know. So I think it's truthful to say that this is our first one since COVID. That makes sense, right? Lindsay Chatterton did a fabulous job with the help of Stacy Pisano, the admin assistant in our office, and with partnership from CPAC. What a difference a week makes. Last week we had to cancel it due to the whipping little mini blizzard that we had, and then this Tuesday it was 80 when we had it. So, but the nice thing is on the first Tuesday we had about just under 20 parents signed up. This past Tuesday we had over 30. Wow. We did have 10 students, 10 children signed up for our child care, which was fabulous. And everybody, it was just such an enjoyable night. Everybody was so happy to be there. All of our vendors were able to make it. We had Waystone, we had the Department of Developmental Services, we had Northeast Independent Living, we had the Northeast Arc, we had a private ABA center located in North Andover, we had the Y, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but it was really a great turnout. Every parent that I spoke to was so appreciative, and so it felt as though it was really meaningful, and they had gotten really nice information. Oh, we had Mass Ability, and the woman from Mass Ability, Janine Sanchez, she lives in North Andover. She's a parent of North Andover public school students. She had said that what impressed her most was that parents actually sat down and were truly engaging, having conversations and learning about what all of these agencies can do to help them navigate, areas in which it's really hard to navigate when you have children with special needs. So it was a wonderful turnout. The place looked great. Everybody was happy. We raffled off over 15 prizes, and to name a few, we had donations from TSR, we had donations from Orange Theory, we had Baba Yum Burger gift cards, Fairways on High gift card, the Magic Barn put together a couple baskets, and again, I'm probably forgetting some, but parents worked through the tables and had check marks on their parent passport and got raffle tickets for each table that they, visited. So it was a great night. I really hope that we're able to do it again next year.
Thank you so much.
So this is something you'll try to do yearly? You see the need for it? That's awesome.
It's really important
Fantastic.
Around that community building. Going back to the presentation that I did around special education, the public school is one factor in the village. That saying is tried and true. It takes a village to raise a child. We are one part. Family is another part, but the community is that other part. And there are so many, I learned things as I went to the tables, and I was like, oh, I'll have that calendar. I'll have this. So, it's just really important that we are all in it together, and that we all know where to guide people when they're not sure where to go next.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So some recognition, our North Andover Middle School students, under the direction of Miss Andrea Liakos, they had the honor of singing at the national anthem at the Boston Celtics versus the Charlotte Hornets. Yes, it was awesome. They went to the TD Garden. There's some pictures here. Drew Carter from ESPN, he served as the local NBA play-by-play voice for the Boston Celtics. The kids sang. It was really a really great experience for them. Atkinson School wanted to give a shout out to their Read Across America. They had some fun spirit days, but one of the things that they were really proud about is that they had Miss Jessica Ellis, who is also a parent, but she's a published author. She came, she visited with each grade level, she shared her books, she talked to the students about the writing process, and then they culminated with a week of kindness. They culminated by the last day having their staff wear kindness shirts in bright colors. And all of our schools, I'll sort of say this maybe in a minute, but I won't have to now because I'm saying it here. All of our schools focused on the Kindness Week, and they sort of incorporated it into Read Across America, which was great. I think we already heard today that our North Andover High School robotics team 8568A. This is kids who fought in over 2 days of competition. They're finished at the state tournaments. They achieved this through an incredible skill score. They earned a spot to compete at the VEX Worlds 2026. So we're really proud of them.
I think there might be two teams.
Yeah, it's the Wicked Smart team from Framingham.
Oh,
That must
okay.
have been the other.
Oh, that must have been the other one
ones they went
when I
against.
grabbed it.
So it's two teams.
Yeah, okay. Again, our Drama Fest, they are semifinalists, North Andover High School. They're going to be doing a free performance tomorrow night, Booby Trap at North Andover High School at 7 o'clock. Show's about 40 minutes long, and it's really powerful, and people are encouraged to come, and it's good for them to do it in front of a live audience. We want to recognize our family orientation leaders. We have family orientation leaders in our district. These are some like stipended positions that we've been able to create this year. It's supported by our partnership with ECLC, Power of Place. That's Essex County Learning Community that we were accepted into a few years ago. And we were provided a coach by them. And the coach came and worked with our two curriculum directors, Kara Larkham and Jackie Taylor, who've taken this project on. To plan ways, so what the focus of this group is planning ways to make families feel welcome in North Andover. And the plans generated, they sort of ran from lots of things that they're thinking about, whether it might be a multicultural day, a district-wide multicultural day, a welcome intake day, with some community resources and some translation services available. This group is putting their plan together now, and they're looking forward to implementing it in the school year to come. But it's been great. So the people that are on these committee, we have school secretaries, we have our parent liaisons, we have some assistant principals, we have some classroom teachers, really looking at finding ways to make coming to North Andover a better experience.
How many times a year does a typical principal invite parents to come to the school in the afternoon or the evening?
It really depends. So there's every year in the elementary, there's 2 times that are sort of like standard where, well, maybe 3. So their standard is open house, and then they usually have an evening in the spring celebration of the arts where they, I'm trying to think. Arts and academics. I was like,
I'm having a hard time
that's
there.
my old job. Arts and academics, but they also have parent-teacher conferences days where they come in. Those are sort of the standard times that they invite parents in. Any teacher can invite parents in. I went to the Franklin School where Grace Murphy was finishing a unit in Wit and Wisdom, and she invited all the families of her class to come in, and they did a presentation in the cafeteria for their families.
Do you ever do things like have parents come with their kids and work on things together with the teachers?
I don't know that I have, well, yes, I would say the middle school last year, Carolyn Beasley, who's one of our assistant principals at the middle school, and many teachers, when they run geography night, the parents come with their kids and they work through activities. Last year, Caroline received a grant from this same organization where the parents came and they did, it was really targeted towards our Thrive program at the middle school last year, but where the parents came and engaged in an activity with their students after school, which was really great, and they had some great participation. And it was also to help their students feel really comfortable and motivated to come to school. So that happens. And then in terms of so there are opportunities for things like that. It was funny, I was listening to George talk today about when the students have opportunities to hear from their teachers about their MAP scores and sort of what's your plan. So here's where you are, because when the kids get to the middle school, they definitely are at a place where the teacher can have some conversations with their students about their own growth. And I think a natural progression may start, what I'd love to see, the Pam Lathrop world, is us starting to move towards student-led conferences at the middle school, particularly, where our students have an opportunity to come with their parents to conferences, and the students lead the conference. Just what it says, student-led conferences. I'd love to see us start to move that way. And even at the elementary this year, Atkinson School piloted student-led open house. So when the parents came for open house, typically we always put, you see those notices. This is a parent evening, no students allowed. Atkinson went with, this is a student-led evening, please bring, your students will be here, come with them. And the students led their parents through the work and what they're expected to do in the school. So I think that's great. And then this is a little bit of a delayed recognition, but I just learned about it, so I thought it was important to share. So Arush Gondola is at the high school. Last April, he was awarded the U.S. Congregational Award Gold Medal. It's the highest national honor for youth. He was invited to the Capitol in Washington, D.C. for his award. Gold medalists have committed themselves to at least 2 years of goal setting and community involvement. To earn the award, the participant must log 400 hours of voluntary public service, 200 hours of personal development, 200 hours of physical fitness, and 5 days, 4 nights expedition or exploration. And he was awarded this. I know, I just learned about it this week, so I felt it was important to recognize this here. He really is.
Did he graduate already?
He is a senior this year.
This year.
Mhm.
Wow.
Fantastic. Marky.
Yeah, so Marky.
Marky and Moulton.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just a few updates. I did have my first in-person superintendent office hours. It was small in attendance, but mighty in information. I really had two really in-depth conversations with the folks that came. I learned a lot. There were some things there were some issues that were brought up that we were able to correct because someone came and talked about it, which was really wonderful. And then I had a parent who's cycling out of North Andover, and that parent and I had some opportunities to talk about some of the changes that they have seen and some of the ways they hope the district will continue to grow. My next office hours will be sending out soon, and that will be an evening. This one I did during the day. I'll do an evening office hours here, again, in person. I'm certainly not opposed to doing virtual, but if I could get people to come in person and talk with me, I think that has a lot of value. I've continued to do some school visits. We were at Atkinson. I was at Atkinson School today. I actually visited Atkinson School with my own coach from MASS. So it was wonderful to be able to have some opportunity for me to meet with the building leaders of Atkinson School and to have my coach observe me and then talk to me about ways that I'm supporting the leaders and giving that feedback. It's a continuous cycle, right? We never stop learning, and I really tried. And I was really impressed. I've done this a few times now with my coach, gone to buildings where she's observed me work, meeting with principals, working on whatever issue might be at hand. And I'm super impressed with the way the principals kind of phase her out as if she's not there. Or sometimes she chimes into the conversation if she feels as though she might have something to be able to offer. But I think that we often think that when we have to ask questions or that if somebody's giving us feedback that it means we didn't do something well. And I'm hoping to model for the principals that, we always need somebody sort of looking over our shoulder sometimes and giving us feedback. It doesn't have to be continuous, but it should be, monitored so that you're continuing to work on your practice.
I'm a little puzzled because I thought you introduced your coach to us And it was a he.
Nope, my he was last year. That's John Masro. He was last year. And that was one that I, MASSS, yes, MASS helped me last year have a coach because I was an acting superintendent and then an interim, and I wasn't sure where we were going here in North Andover. I didn't commit myself fully to the induction program, and I didn't think it was fair to ask you all to present me to the induction program if you weren't planning on keeping me here, to be honest. And so, but this year, I joined the program. It is a 3-year commitment, and so my coach is formally through that program now, which is a Jane Tremblay. And she did come to earlier in the very first meeting in the fall, but you are not wrong about that. March 16th, Erica Murphy, who was our director of food services, and her food service team, she came here maybe it was last year. I don't know, the years blend. But she came here and she presented to you her grand plan for doing the cafeteria. Oh, yes, and so it's finally done. So on March 16th, we have the grand reveal of the North Andover High School cafeteria and the North Andover Middle School cafeteria. So if you would like to see it or if you have some opportunity, let us know.
Can we schedule a tour on April 30th when we go to visit
Sure.
the library as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Or we should make a point to walk through the new
Yes.
cafeteria
Yep. And,
on our way to the
and,
meeting.
and
on
NAMS
30th.
has a cafeteria reveal as well. But Erica is, she's amazing, and she's a very quiet, behind-the-scenes kind of person who doesn't look for accolades, but certainly looks for ways that she can support our school district. This year, she has partnered with some of our principals in some of the events they're doing, helping to provide some food. I know that she did some Veterans Day events with some of the staff where staff who invited veterans to come in to speak to the kids. Erica provided a nice breakfast for them, and she's doing great work. At Atkinson and Thompson, she has a grant where she introduces new fruits and vegetables. So those fruits and vegetables are, the teachers get an email about what's going to be in their basket. They get a little information about what those fruits and vegetables are, and then all the kids have opportunities to taste them in their classroom. She's doing great work. I put down NSIP coaching just to remind you that I do see my coach at a variety of times. And then this past week, I also went to Marlboro, where the MASS headquarters are, and we had a day of professional development, which is really great. We had an introductory meeting with a professor at Merrimack College. So myself, Kristen Ando, Lynn O'Neill, and Michelle O'Leary, who's our director of social emotional learning, to talk about a potential partnership with Merrimack in the School of Psychology in their undergraduate program. Lots of times we will bring in graduates, but this is looking at the undergraduate program. Their students do have to participate in an internship. So we are starting to have that talks about what that might look like and how they might be able to support North Andover Public Schools. It was a really great meeting. We scheduled it for about an hour. Kristen and I had a meeting at 2, so we had to end the meeting, and then Lynn and Michelle and Katie from Merrimack went on to Lynn's office and continued on because of some of the things that they're thinking about doing. So it's great.
This is to bring in student interns here.
Correct.
To help us.
Yes, but during the different semesters, and what Merrimack is really working on is helping their students earlier than later learn how to write a resume, learn how to interview. And then psychology, I was a psychology major. Psychology, there's lots of different paths you can go. I went to the path of education after psychology, but this is to really help them define what path they may want to go on in terms of their psychology major. And so different ways they can support our schools.
Great.
We are, just a reminder that last year, the school committee amended policy JFAB about the verification of residency. So this is the first year we'll be putting that into effect. where students who are moving from 5th grade to 6th grade, we'll be asking those families to verify residency again, and then students who are moving from the middle school to high school, we'll be asking them to verify residency again. Mike Grant, our Director of Technology, will be coordinating that, sending out emails. So just to remind families that that is happening. It doesn't mean that we are questioning residency. This is something that we're doing across the board, and it's part of our policy now. North Andover is scheduled for a TFM review.
Tiered focus monitoring.
Oh, thank you. Tiered focus monitoring review, school year 26 and 27. This is from the Department of Education. So every 3 years, the Office of Public School Monitoring, PSM, conducts a review in the areas of special education and civil rights through a process called an integrated monitoring review, also TFM. So I'm just giving you a heads up that that is happening next year. In a few weeks, you are going to hear a presentation from Kristen and Lynn and perhaps Michelle O'Leary about what that's going to look like for us next year. Okay, next slide. Just a little upcoming. Next week, you'll have a budget update.
2 weeks.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. 2 weeks. Whew. Can't do this next week. 2 weeks, you'll have a budget update. We'll have a presentation to you of user fees for you to consider, and I think that's when we're planning on just sharing with you what the TFM will look like, what that will look like next year, and what the process is that we have to go through for that monitoring. April 9th, if we bring some recommendations to you about increasing user fees, we're looking for some, a vote on that for April 9th. We have a bus contract for you to vote on, and
Do we
then
need 2 meetings for a bus contract?
I don't think so, based on what's coming forward.
Okay.
And then Michelle O'Leary, who's our Director of Social Emotional Learning, will be here on April 9th to talk to you about some of the work that she's been doing this year, in particular the work that her counselors have done in terms of a resource guide that they've created.
Is she coming for TFM as well?
I don't know. So if she is, we could push
I was gonna say
TFM
if she is,
to
we do
there.
those together just to be kinder to her.
Yes, that would be nice. April 30th, we're hoping that have the big high school library reveal, so we'll have our meeting at the high school. Fine arts, you'll get an update, you'll get a little presentation about fine arts and what's happening. You'll hear a little bit about some of the high school trips that you've approved and how that went, and what experiences were. And I believe April 30th, we have another budget update scheduled, and you can see the cafeteria. May 7th will be your first read for school choice. You have to do that by law. Whether or not our North Andover will be a school choice school, which would allow folks to choose to come here and our students to go other places. Oh, well, sorry about that. They still can. And we will ask you, we'll talk to you about our recommendation for our school physician. And the North Andover Middle School has a new club called the Dirty Hands Club, and they have requested to come and share with you some of the work that they have been doing in their club. And then May 12th is
Town meeting.
Town meeting.
Sorry, that was your job.
All right. Get your babysitters.
And those are my updates
Thank you.
this evening.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Couple of things. Last day of school currently is scheduled for Tuesday, June 23rd.
Correct.
Correct. Desi had a webinar for all the superintendents last week. So in terms of calendar and time in school, there's 2 things that school systems have to do every year. You have to have 180 days, and you have to meet a minimum time on learning requirement. They have said that they will consider waivers to the 180-day rule if because of snow, if districts do these things. We use all 5 of our snow days. We meet the instructional hours requirement, which we will have, we have enough instructional time, right?
Yep.
We go through the 26th of June if necessary. And if necessary, we repurpose remaining professional development days or school closure days like Good Friday outside of April vacation required holidays. So that means if we were to have snow, we would potentially be in school up until the 26th, but we would not go beyond that because we would be able to qualify for the waiver because of all the other things that we've been able to do. So that's good. So if you have to book flights for vacations, you can do so for after the 26th.
We're not
We're not
gonna
going to have to worry about that because the
we are-
last day of school is June 23rd.
We are, yeah.
It's not gonna snow.
It's spring, it's warmer.
Although
it's
there
fine.
was some snowing today.
Mr. Hicks, you're not helping the situation.
Need I remind you of the 1997 April Fool's
Oh,
Day
my,
blizzard?
yes.
Also, seniors have different rules. They are allowed to have graduation and be done with school up to 12 school days before the regularly scheduled, original scheduled day of school. So graduation still and will be on
June
June
5th.
5th. That does not change. So June 23rd right now, knock on wood. Number 2, speaking of town meeting, it is on May 12th. Here, please be there. Budget process has something to do with that. We are going to be presenting and advocating for 3 very important votes. We hope are yes votes from the public town meeting on May 12th. There will be the town's operating budget, including $72.2 million for the school operating budget. It will be the capital improvement plan budget, which includes several projects for the schools, most notably money to relocate the 4 modular classrooms from Kittredge to the Franklin, and reusing the Kittredge gym as a storage facility for DPW. Someone reached out to me about that one. They're like, why can't we move that to the Franklin? Once we take it down, it will compromise like the water containment of it and the electrical of it, so it would no longer be safe for kids to be having gym in, but perfectly safe for us to use as a storage facility, which we were in the market for anyway. So that's great. And then the third one is we're going to be asking for a bond for the construction of the new Kittredge building, because we were accepted into the MSBA for Mr. Brown, $79.8 million.
That's the total. It's
Total.
yeah, 29.2 from the state and 50.6 from.
So
us.
we have to take a bond out for the full amount, and then the state will reimburse us the 36.6%. I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to be. Yeah. It's, you had it right. 36.6% is what the state will reimburse us for.
Yes. But we have to take out the bond,
for the
full
whole
amount.
thing. Yep.
If you would like to learn more about the Kittredge School Building Project, please come to the Tri-Board meeting on March 30th. I believe it's at the Senior Center. It's officially a select board meeting, but it will also be the Finance Committee and the School Committee will be there. Because the Kittredge School Building Committee will be presenting to all 3 boards that night. Yep. Please come, public comment, questions, and everything will be available. And then lastly, negotiations. We have officially started our negotiating with the North Andover teaching assistants. We are having a different process this time. All the negotiation sessions are open to the public. You can come and watch. We had our first one this past week. Please come again.
And they are also on NACAM.
They are being
So you can
broadcast.
watch.
Thank you.
And we have on our school website, on North Andover Public School website, we now have a collective bargaining tab. It's right on top where the agendas, any documents can be uploaded, and we are reposting CAM there, the CAM video.
And at times during negotiations, either side may go into a private caucus, but for the most part, the conversations between the 2 groups are going to be public. We just wanted to share with you the next dates for those negotiations. They will happen on Wednesday, April 29th, Monday, May 11th, Wednesday, May 27th, and June 8th. We've scheduled several sessions over the next several months. So public is welcome to come watch that. Great transparency happening. That's everything I have for my chair updates. Mr. Brown, anything additional to say about Kittredge other than we're having a presentation?
We're having a presentation. Just a couple of other quick points. As you pointed out earlier, behind you is the info board, which I believe is in every school building now.
Town hall.
And also town hall,
library.
and I think the youth center, maybe?
I think the youth center, library.
Yes, they're in all over the place. Also, there's a brochure available that they're also in a number of places around town. You can pick one up and certainly get them at town hall.
And there's a QR code.
And yes, there is a QR code on the bottom right of the board. Also, the Kittredge School Building Committee website has a lot of the same stuff on it. You can look there and get it. And then just the only other thing I would point out, when you look at the pictures there, the upper left, the big picture on the top. One of the things that's very interesting about that is that the final design has, as you'll notice, like pathway all the way around it for emergency vehicles. It's a really important point. And the main access is going to be in that picture, the bottom left, which is kind of across from Osgood Street, right? It doesn't go just straight in, but it's very close.
You're here right now. You can see now.
Yeah, be right there, and that's so anybody who had any concerns about bus traffic, et cetera, it's not going to be out here in front of our building, this building. It'll be coming in from the left, and that's where parent drop-off will be as well. You come in on the left side, drop off, scoot around, and come back out.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we haven't met. Our last meeting was the same night as our last school committee meeting, so I already reported on that. And then our next official meeting is the presentation. We have a committee meeting just prior to the presentation, so it'll be that date, that March 30th date.
Fantastic. And again, if you're would like to give feedback or learn more about Kittredge, go to those websites or attend the meeting on the 30th. Fantastic. Public comment? Member comments?
Well, I have a small one. I was at a CREST board meeting. Well, this is virtual. We had a CREST board meeting yesterday morning, and they reported on somebody on the CREST staff has gotten interested in applying AI to bus scheduling, and he's apparently having really good results with it because it's huge amounts of data, more than an ordinary person can put together, and it allows them to combine routes and save money. And one of the reasons they're doing that is they want to be able to help member districts. So I have no idea whether it would be helpful to us, but it'd probably be worthwhile to have somebody look into it.
Yeah, after sounds, anything that can help with bus routes,
Well,
it's a good thing.
Right. It can't hurt.
We like more efficient ones. Thank you. Other members? Mr. Brown?
Yeah, on the same vein, I can't help but wonder out loud if MEVA could be of any more help to us than, they're already taking middle school students right down Main Street. They added a route that accommodates that. So another creative idea maybe. Can we get more help out of them?
We have chatted with them. We've talked about that. That actually is the route of MEVA, so that's why that works. So
it's easy lift.
It was easy lift, but we are continuing in conversation with them. We've talked about things. Yes, we're continuing to explore that. Christine Minicucci has been fabulous.
Yeah.
Kara has led a lot of that conversation with her. But
okay, I was just
we're always trying to look for
Yeah.
certain ways that we can support our students.
That just jumped into my head, and then it's because we have this bus contract vote coming up. I assume we'll get like something to look at before the meeting, right? We won't be asked to read the contract and vote on it at the same instant, right?
Well,
I'm leading you there. I mean,
wouldn't we usually do this over 2 nights anyway, David?
Yeah, you said earlier that we wouldn't do that.
I will have. I'll talk to Gail and see what kind of information we can get to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because that's obviously it's a big expense.
It is.
Yeah, and then my other member
There's
comment.
not a lot of places that.
What's that?
We'll get something out to you.
Okay, thank you. And then I just wanted to had a wonderful time at the reading day at Franklin School, a couple of weeks ago. That was great. It was just really enjoyable reading to 4th graders.
I think it was on my slide, and I forgot to mention I put Read Across America there because I know that lots of you went to different schools and different times, and I don't know if you've all. I received my thank you notes from the class that I was at today, and I just have to share this one from Sienna that I forgot to. Dear Mrs. Lathrop, Thank you for coming in and reading to us. I really enjoyed Ordinary Mary because it was about spreading kindness. I found out the other night that you were my dad, Scott Zaneri's teacher. Your friend, Sienna.
Oh, that's awesome.
So life comes a little bit full circle.
Wow.
When the student shares with you, yeah, that you had their parent in second grade. So, thank you, Sienna.
Mrs. Sams or Mrs. Cormier?
Nothing new.
Our next official meeting is 2 weeks from now here, March 26th, and then we'll have a meeting on the 30th. The tri-board, again, town meeting is on May 12th, and there's a bunch of town meetings that you can attend for negotiations.
Lots of meetings.
And additionally, election is coming up, so please
Oh.
remember to go out and vote on the 31st.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Great. Mr. Moskowitz? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We're adjourned at
9:15.
9:15.